I think we're live. Are we live?
I think
we'll find
so.
out in a second.
It says
I'm
live.
pretty confident. It says live. I can see the comments.
I can't see the comments.
I think you can't see the comments, right?
No.
So, is there a comments section for you? Hello, everybody. By the way, how are you? Good evening. Prestige Reef Dork show, as always. I'm just waiting for. There we go. Yes, it is definitely live. Okay, so you can't see the comments, Ryan.
No, we might need to explain that you're using a different program to usual, which is why it looks like we don't know what we're doing.
So this should be identical. It shouldn't, like, if you're watching this at home, which obviously you are, this shouldn't look any different. But it'll look different from us. But you can't see the comments at all. Is there like a settings?
It says hide chat. No, I literally can't see. I can see chat and social in the top right, but it's just got me and you in it.
Well, in which case, I will take charge of posting the comments so we can see them. Anyway, right, amateur hour over. Hello, Prestige.
No, amateur hour is starting.
Amateur hour is starting, yeah. But yeah, welcome along. So today we're just going to have a Q&A session, basically. And I'm going to load up the... I'm going to mute that. There we go. So I'm going to load up the... Right, so we're going to have a Q&A session. So there are a couple of questions that have come in already, but we're just going to have a bit of a chat. And anything you want to ask myself or Ryan, and this in particular, actually. So Ryan, you do consultations, don't you, where you charge 60 quid for some detailed one-on-one video advice?
That's correct.
Just so this is a free consultation for you guys.
Although it'd be difficult to do free to do one-on-one video advice with everyone in chat.
Well, but you know, still, it's free, so have your fill.
I like how at the start of this we're like, we're not very sure what we're going to talk about, and now you've just gone, by the way, Ryan, you're doing all the talking.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's why you're here, to do all the hard work. So, how's your week? How is your week in reefing been? What have you been up to?
It's actually been a reasonably quiet week in reefing for me. As you know, I'm temporarily working at my old company at the moment, so I don't actually do an awful lot in the coral farm. That's actually why I've not been posting, and also why I haven't been updating the website as often, because for the last 8 weeks I've been working full time, and then I just post the corals out that get ordered from the website. But that is coming to an end, and I will go back to doing what I normally do soon. With regard, I did get some new corals, obviously, that you saw the other day. I know how much you enjoy, my black and red lobophilia, so I tried to beat that by getting a golden red lobophilia.
You didn't post that on Instagram, did you?
I haven't posted on Instagram, no, but it is better, isn't it?
This is actually really nice, and I actually went looking on your website to see how much it was, but you've not put it on there yet.
No, because it's one of those corals where I'm like, I do this myself probably.
Let me have a look. Have you got a photo of it?
I do. I don't know if I sent you the most up-to-date photo. Let me check.
The thing is, I've probably deleted it.
Yeah,
here
I
we
did
go.
send
Yeah. So here you go. I'll put this up and I'll see if I can get this on. Yeah, perfect. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what cut is it? Is it red and like yellow, gold?
It's gold. It like looks properly gold.
What is that? A lobo? What is it?
Yeah, it's a lobo. Yeah.
Looks different.
Yeah, I'm going to put it next to my black and red one that I've still got because I won't sell it. It's really frustrating to me that I can't see the comments. I'm actually thinking about logging into YouTube, into chat, see if I can watch it, just so I can.
See,
yeah, because then I can start to obviously interact with people.
I know. We'll have to play around with that because there must be a feature where you can see that.
Yeah, so right, I can see the chat now. I've just logged in normally.
Excellent.
Well,
the first thing I need to say, BN3 Reefing, you posted a question before the video started, and it's not showing on my stream. So post it again, and I'll answer it. I don't think anybody else did post questions, but if you did before, post them again, and we'll have a look. And Les wants the countdown back. Controversial.
No, it does give me tremendous anxiety when you just go, we're live. We're live,
go. But then, so do you know what? It was funny because I didn't think anyone would care either way. But I had a load of comments last time after the last video saying, yes, I hate countdowns. I'm so glad you've got rid of them. So, Les, you might be on your own. But what do you guys think? If you want a countdown, I'll put one on. But I just figure it's just, I don't like it. Yeah, because there's a countdown. YouTube does a countdown. So YouTube counts down to 7 o'clock, and then I start another countdown. It's like, what? Why are we doing it?
Oh, people can hear my clicks. It says Ryan clicks are so loud. There you go. Yeah, I can see the comments now.
Your mouse clicks. I understand.
Yeah, it's because my mouse is right next to the microphone.
Yeah, I was going to say. Although the back. Anyway, never mind. Fine. So you bought that Lobo. What? So you haven't decided if you're going to sell it yet?
There's lots of corals where I keep them for like 6 to 8 months and then go, I have to sell this now.
What this means is you're trying to make it like forbidden fruit, and someone's going to come on and go, "I'll give you £1,000."
Sometimes that is what happens. that isn't my intention. The problem I have is, as you know, I'm planning to keep an angelfish, and I just think certain things I'm keeping, like Trachyphilas and stuff like that, I know won't go in that tank probably because their chances are they'll get eaten. And although having said that, Jamie's Reef, who's in the chat at the moment, he now has 2 angelfish in his reef tank. He has a majestic and a regal angelfish, and so far they're fine. I've been told.
Majestic, I feel like they're quite a high risk.
No, majestics, regals, and blue faces are the lowest risks, and then it's basically everything else.
Okay, interesting. My regal is behaving himself 2 months.
Oh yeah, because you've got a regal as well, haven't you?
Correct. He's not touched. So I've even got a couple of acans. They're the most pathetic acans you've ever seen in your life, and they haven't grown in like 3 years because they get smashed with light. But so far he hasn't touched them. He hasn't touched any zoas, and most importantly, my shiny SPS polyps are untouched.
There you go.
But it's been 2 months.
So it wasn't bad advice when I said go get one then.
Well, let's just hold off until it's been 6 months or a year, because that's what they do. They settle themselves in, and then they're like, "Oh, that aquapora looks nice. Looks expensive."
Yeah, it's always the expensive ones, isn't it?
Yeah, always, literally always. This is one. Right, so first off, I don't know if you know, but the start time changed an hour in case it's an issue. So that should be 7 o'clock now. It's been 7 o'clock for a month or two. So that is the correct start time. 7 o'clock UK time. That is the correct start time. I used to do it at 8 o'clock, but I just finished at 10 o'clock and I was knackered, to be completely honest. Whereas I finished now at 9 o'clock and feel all right.
Yeah, I still feel wired afterwards.
Yeah, and Les has pointed out, yeah, I do as well, but it's fine because you don't have to
unwind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, although you don't have a job, so you don't really matter.
I realize is when you post people's comments, I can then see them in the social section.
So if I do that,
yes, I can see them.
Can you see all of them now?
I can't see all of them. I can only see you've posted 5 of them, and I can see 5 of them.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, okay, I'll fiddle around with this. It might be able to fix it so you can see everything. Rogue Aquariums asks, is the coral farm sustaining itself, Ryan, or are you working full-time helping your family business?
I am helping my family business. So
what is that? Because the coral farm is failing?
No, it's because do you know what's interesting? Since I have started working there and I've not been doing this, I reckon my sales have probably halved. So
since you stopped, sorry, say that again.
Yeah, so since I stopped promoting every night, and since I've stopped putting out as many YouTube videos and things like that, the sales have gone basically have halved. Now, some of that will be because of the economic climate, I have no doubt. But it's been very interesting to see because I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. But I've been shocked, basically. But that's why I've been desperate to. It's almost impossible to do both of them because when you're shipping corals, you have to do it in the middle of the day. So you can't go to work full time and then spend 3 hours in the middle of the day shipping coral.
I see.
So
right.
the reason I've not been promoting is because it's not because I don't want to sell more.
It's because you've been working.
I haven't got enough time to ship them in the middle of the day. So, but in answer to your question, even now it's sustaining itself. So yes, it's still the best thing I ever did. If I'm honest, the best thing I ever did.
Yeah. The amount of time it takes you, i.e., not very much. When you said like you spend like 2 hours a week in the farm,
I've been in there 5 minutes today, and it was before this.
Do you know what? It must take when I pack up a couple of corals and post, and I just pack up a couple. Yeah. It takes ages. So that must be time consuming.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Look, when you're packing corals, it takes me about 10 to 15 minutes per box. Which might not sound actually.
If you've got 10, that's an hour and a half.
Yeah, But if you've got 10, it'll be longer than that, because some of those 10 will have 8 corals in, and some of them will have 1 coral in. So it all depends on the amount of corals rather than the amount of boxes. And the other thing I just remembered was I had my the council came to inspect the coral farm.
Yeah.
And full marks basically, So my pet shop license.
They say it's the best place they've ever seen. That's what I heard. Yeah.
They say it was the best coral farm they've ever seen in a house.
Yeah, in a house. Okay.
So they I think the lady who came was very impressed. Which was
say
nice.
so yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, she was. God, we're starting early today, aren't we?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll move on to the point of the show tonight. So the stream. I always say show, I mean stream. George Dunn says, "Hi lads, love your channels. Okay, I have a problem. I have hair algae, brown dust on the glass, and sand. Oh, brown dust on the glass and sand. My nitrates are about 15. I presume that means 15, not 0.15. Phosphates are 0.04. Can you help? What tank is it? What size? How many fish have you got? How many corals have you got?" This is the trouble. So
this is what we need. We need that information.
When I thought, what, let's do a Q&A session. The thing I did think the questions that people ask, if someone posts a question like this, if it's that tank there in his avatar, then that helps. I did think actually I've got a million questions to go back and forth with. But to be honest, the simple thing I would say to this is I wonder what filtration you're running and how much you're feeding as well. You might be overfeeding, but green hair algae, get an urchin.
Hair algae is like the easiest thing to deal with as well.
Pull it out. It's a pain in the ass, but honestly, pull it out and get an urchin. Blue tuxedo urchin.
Urchins are one of the things that will eat it. Although urchins come with a downside as well. So it's but they're easy to get out. Stuff. They're easy to get out. To be fair, urchins are the best thing to get rid of algae. So look,
what's the downside? That they move stuff.
They move stuff, and when you put your hand in the tank to like clean stuff, you randomly stab yourself. And
have you stabbed yourself on an urchin?
Loads of times.
Oh really? Does it hurt?
I've got like 8 in one tank.
They're not really. They've got spines, but they don't like prick you, do they?
Oh well, you're obviously not. You're obviously not stroking them enough.
I'm adept. I'm just gentle with them. But no, the urchins are amazing. Anyway,
you can hold them. And what I'm saying is, when you put your hand down the back of the tank to grab something, all of a sudden you just stab yourself. So I've noticed, if anyone notices my eyes are like blinking like this, it's because the coral farm dries out my eyes, and I've just been in there for the last hour and a half, and now I come on here, it looks like I'm an idiot because I'm doing this. But that's why it's happening. If you notice, because I just noticed I did it a few times.
Fair enough. So anyway, the answer to that is get an urchin, because those parameters, 15 nitrates and 0.04 phosphates, they're fine.
Yeah, and it basically is a cleanup crew that will deal with that. So it's like tangs, or although tangs don't eat the long hair algae, so you have to remove it, and then they'll keep it cropped.
Foxfaces do.
Yes, sometimes.
In my experience, anyway. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the other thing. So I bought one of. Have you ever seen the tiny foxfaces in the shops? They're like an inch long.
Yes.
So they're rubbish. But I do find that some of them, when they've been in for a while, they start to get a bit more bold when they eat. So you might find that you put one in, you get a tang or a foxface or whatever, it doesn't do anything for 2 months, and then it's like, do you know what? I've worked out algae is tasty.
Yes. Oh, now I've made you small.
I can hear your clicks now as well.
I'm trying to sort it so I can see all of the comments, because it's so unnerving not being able to see them.
Yeah, okay.
But it's and now I've just shrunk you basically, so you're now this big on my screen.
Well, that's all right. No countdown. We don't want to count down. Oh yeah, they were James likes to count down though. Oh, it's 50-50. It's divided people. BN3 Reefing. This is your 2 questions. First one: ketchup or brown sauce, Ryan?
Neither. Actually, the only ketchup I ever eat is from McDonald's, and I rarely eat McDonald's or Burger King. But there's something in my mind that has just told me that I won't eat it out of a bottle ever since I was a child.
Out of a bottle? No.
No.
What, like with a knife and just spoon it?
If it comes out of a bottle, I will not eat it. If it comes out of a packet from McDonald's, I'll eat it. Simple as that. I don't know why. I've always been the same. I like how the conversations are reefing related.
I don't think I've ever had brown sauce in my life.
No. That's the answer.
But
Anyway.
I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah, I just said anyway. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, second question. When beginning with corals, placement. How do you decide on placement, as each colony requires different things, flow, lighting, etc.? Ooh, that's a good question.
It's usually best to start them lower down in the tank. Your corals will let you know how happy they are almost immediately. So it's with flow especially. Flow is something where you only need to get like 80% right and you're fine. You know, and 80% right is literally just putting one on each side of the tank. As long as it's not like Acropora and stuff like that, if it's just beginner corals, it's difficult to get flow wrong unless they're being absolutely hammered because they're directly.
The one thing that's easy to get wrong with flow is pointing a power head directly at a coral.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. If they're being hammered, then but your corals will show you if they're being hammered because they won't open up or they're just going like this. But so with regards to that, and then lighting is see a lot of the reason beginner corals are beginner corals is because they can tolerate a whole wide range of environments. Otherwise, they wouldn't be beginner corals. So the lighting is of that question. Lighting is probably the biggest issue where it will be giving them too much light. So as long as your lights are turned down slightly. Then
but I think the answer with that is it depends on what corals you're buying, because if you're just buying like a mixed reef, ideally without LPS, without SPS, so LPS and softies, they'll all more or less accept the same light as long as you've not got too much and the same flow.
Yeah.
In my experience, zoas prefer, if anything, a bit more light and flow, but they'll be fine with less. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I would definitely worry about aggression. So if you've got anything that's Google it, see if it's got sweeper tentacles, LPS in particular. You want to give that some space. But the answer is it's hard work because you don't. What you should do, and I don't always do this. In fact, I rarely do this. But what you should do is put a coral where you want it to go, and ideally think, do you know what, this is good for it in terms of light, flow, all that sort of stuff. And then if it's not happy, after 3 months, say, move it. Yeah. And then if it's not happy there, move it. I don't do that. I'm just like, I want it there. You're going to bloody well stay there.
You'll live there.
Well like it.
You'll live there, even if you change colour.
Exactly. I don't care. But the trouble, but then that's with Acropora. I find that I'll put something in place, and if it changes colour, that's not an issue. 6 months' time, 9 months' time, it'll come back.
Yeah.
It's
like Acropora. I don't like waiting for 9 months.
Impatient, but it's a pain in the arse placing corals, and one of the hardest things is actually fixing it in place. Because if you've just got like a normal rockscape, you've got to putty it in place, and then if you need to move it, you've got to unputty it, and so it's a pain in the arse.
See, I still stick by what I said. I start all the corals on the sand for the first day.
Yeah, for sure.
First day or two, just to make sure they open up even. And then after that, like you have to make sure they're not going to be like thrown around by crabs and stuff like that. So I usually put them on a frag rack, but at the very bottom. But the reason I actually know BN3 Reefing. He's my customer, so I know he always buys all the zoas and soft corals and things like that. So that's why I know what I can. I know the question he's asking. If you see what I mean, more than.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
But absolutely, low down is best, and really that's why you should have a frag rack to put it. If you any new frags, you put on a frag rack, and then you can move the frag rack up slowly over the course of a month, 2 months, or whatever. Again, I don't do that. Just whack them in place, and I'm like.
But they've seen the do as we say, not as we do video, haven't they?
I know, yeah. There's this one that comes up all the time. Vermetids. They're popping up all over the place.
Those are the only thing that I have found. I cannot find anything that eats them. I've tried everything with vermetids. Like previously, they were in the Red Sea tank, and they got what I've noticed, and a few other people said this. They grow out of control. They go crazy, and they're sort of everywhere. And then their population sort of peaks, and then they seem to decline, and then you don't notice them, which is what happened in the Red Sea tank. Because you start popping them off or killing them, and then they don't come back. So there is definitely, and there's anecdotal evidence or anecdotal knowledge or whatever it is on the internet that has said the same thing. But I try to get a pufferfish to eat them. I tried 70 bumblebee snails That didn't eat them. So they're the only pest that I know of which is almost impossible to get rid of.
Sledgehammers are good for vermetid snails.
Yeah, not
It's
for your corals though.
It can be collateral damage,
Yes,
but
yes.
you know, but they're a bloody nightmare. But I agree. So when I started, Red Sea gave me a bottle of Reef Energy ages ago, and I used it for a few months, and then I bought a couple more bottles because I liked it. But what I did find was that I was getting more vermetids and more filter feeders popping up.
Yes.
So I was like, so it's obviously it's gonna feed not just the corals, the other things you don't want it to. And I feel like, this could be just nonsense because I didn't make a record or anything, but I feel like the numbers dropped after that, after I stopped because I don't. But so I mean, but overfeeding is always going to do damage, and it will give you more vermetids. But the short answer is there's nothing really you can do. I think manual removal of vermetids is the best thing. But they're sometimes in awkward spots, and but I'm the same. I've never found anything that gets rid of them. I'm sure bumblebee snails do eat them on some occasions.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's not going to sort your problem.
Yeah. Learn to live with them, because the reality is they're this little tiny little stick that if you didn't know it was a vermetid snail, you'd think it was a fanworm, and then it don't matter.
But so I've got some in my tank, and it bothers me when they pop up on corals and make them look a bit ugly because they go through the base of SPS and stuff.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I don't really care because they're out of the way, and I'm just like, whatever.
They normally hang out underneath things as well. They're not like so much like Aptasias when they're like in your face.
I've got that rock I sold to you. The underside of that was covered in them, wasn't it?
Well, I don't remember because I cut everything off the rock, didn't I? So
there you go, threw it away.
I think it was actually. Yeah, I kind of remember.
I could see it when you look under the rock. I could see these little
So when I said to you, "Have you got any pests?" and you're like, "Yeah, I've got no pests," and then I turn up and there's Asteria starfish and vermetids.
Asterina's a cleanup crew.
No, they're not.
And I didn't charge you for them, so I'll charge you next time. But anyway, all right. So there you go. So how to deal with them? Get over it. Basically, that's what I had to do. Raven says with an amusing picture of a small dog with glasses. Do you think spawning corals is viable and profitable method of aquaculture? Would you ever consider doing it yourself? Do you think it's the future of the hobby? I love that question.
I'm not smart enough to do it myself at this moment in time.
You are.
Well,
you are.
I don't know how to do it myself at this moment in time. Is the honest answer.
I will accept that as an answer.
It's an interesting one. I think that some corals eventually corals will be banned from being collected at some point, or definitely specific corals will be banned from being collected. And as soon as that happens, all of a sudden there's an incentive for people to try to breed them. It's exactly the same as yellow tangs. If like 10 years ago, if someone went, "Look, I've bred these yellow tangs," everyone will go, "Well, what's the point? Because we can just get them from the ocean and they're £25. So why did you breed them?" And then as soon as they went, "I'm sorry, but we're banning yellow tangs." All of a sudden, the breeding of them became very profitable. So
very true.
So people have an incentive. So let's say if it's something like scollies, for example, I don't believe that all corals need to be spawned. Things like Pasillipora, they grow fast enough without it. But things like Trachyphylla and scollies, if they can be spawned, and there's money in them to be spawned, people will eventually do it. Yes.
So I've posted a comment in the chat. I've posted it through my second channel, Reef Dork Extra, XTRA, if you're not subscribed. So I don't know if it will show up because YouTube's weird and it blocks links. But anyway, I've posted that. It's a video from Bulk Reef Supply. It was their third most recent video. It's a 45-minute interview with Jamie Craggs. And I think this is, Raven, what you're referring to. You still haven't seen that yet, Ryan, I take it?
No, I haven't seen it. I know I said I was going to watch it last time.
I'm giving you homework for next week.
I got to be in the mood to watch it, I think.
Oh, mate, this is one of those things that if you're not in the mood, turn it on. And it's only 45 minutes. It's a long video, but it's not like a 2 hours of watching you talk, for example.
Yeah, that's well boring.
But it's brilliant, and this is where it comes from. So there are two things actually that come from that. One, you talked about breeding trackies and all that sort of spawning trackies.
Yeah.
One of the things that Jamie Craggs has managed to do is spawn quite easily Catulophilia elegans.
You said Scollies last week.
Well, yeah, that as well. But Catulophilia in particular, he's got like 1 billion Catulophilia sat around his living room. It's really they're easier to do, and they get to a decent size relatively quickly. I'm talking an inch long in a year, so that's not super quick. But when the trouble with Catulophilia is when you buy one in the shop, they're bloody massive, and they end up even bigger.
Yeah.
So if I could buy a 1-inch cat of the coral variety, 1-inch kitten would be awesome. Anyway, if I could buy a 1-inch elegance coral, I would love that. So, and I would pay. I wouldn't pay crazy money, but I'd pay reasonable money for it, more than a wild caught 2-foot one.
But people frag caterpillars. You're saying Catulophilia. I've always
Catulophilia. I always call it Cataphilia.
That's what I called it.
He said Catulophilia, and I was like, "What a dickhead! He's got it wrong." So I googled it, and it's right.
So now we're the dickheads.
Elegance coral. I know, yeah.
Yes, elegance coral. People do frag those. So you can get smaller ones. I've actually got some in the farm at the moment, but mine are like this.
That's the thing. But this is, even if you frag it, it won't be an inch. And literally, you would think it's a Duncan coral. They're tiny. So I think that is absolutely the future. The trouble is, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
But and there are 2 more things. So the other thing with this is, the other reason that video is so good is because he is spawning and hybridizing Aquapora corals. So that you get like these two, they're like bleeding into each other.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that in one of his presentations before.
He talked about that at Coral Freaks about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was that's when I saw it.
But now I don't know if he's progressed or whatever, but man, they look good, and that you can't get from the wild. So that is something people will pay more for because it doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah, that's very.
That is absolutely wicked, and so that we might be 10 years away. But the second thing I was going to say with this is it the future of the hobby? Yes, it is. And I've forgotten what I was going to say. I've got such a terrible memory.
Honestly, that was such a. Is it the future of the hobby? Yes, it is. Silence.
But that was it. Oh my god! Honestly, it's like anyway. Right, I've got a bad memory. We all know that. So the second thing is Jamie Craggs. This is the one thing that scientific researchers do that is just bizarre, but it's bizarre in the best way possible. He has spent a long time and a lot of effort and resources, no doubt, working out how to do this, how to spawn scollies, Aquapora, Catulophilia, you name it. He's invested a shit ton of time in that and effort and all this and skill. If that was me, I would keep that to myself. But because he's a scientist and because of the why he's doing all of this, he has published papers on how to do this, and he's built setups that you can go and buy, and you can buy it and set up anywhere in the world, and you can do it. He gives away the instruction manual. Basically. It's not easy. It's not like if it was easy, I'd do it straight away. But it's not mega difficult. Anybody could do it with a bit of time.
What gives you the impression that I could do it then? If you said it's not easy.
Well, but if you wanted to do it, if you wanted to spend the time and dedicate the energy to it, you could do it. It would take trial and error and all this sort of stuff. And but it looks, and you'd have to have the right setup. But it is definitely the future. Just I think it's probably 10 years rather than 10 months.
Yeah.
But go and watch the video because honestly, and I'm gonna chase you up on it down the week because it's amazing.
I will definitely watch. I might even watch it tonight actually after this because now I know it's only 45 minutes. It's not actually too long. So
there we go. And next question is from Rogue Aquarium, so it's the same as a question I asked you before the stream started. When are you setting up your water box?
This week don't get excited when I say this week. So if you don't know what I've been doing, I've basically been working with a fish shop and I supply them with corals and then they are going to supply me with a water box.
I didn't realize that's what it was. Can you say what shop it is?
It's Reef Aquatics down in Yeah. So okay. I think this process started probably a little while ago now, probably maybe 6 months ago. And every so often he comes and he takes some corals, but obviously the tanks are like between £3,000 and £5,000. So it takes a little while to
Okay.
it takes a little while to set up. But this week I finally hit the total that I needed for the smaller one. So not the really wide one, which I think would be a bad idea, although you encouraged me to get it. Just the normal sized one. It's still 6 foot, but the normal depth, which I think is like 30 or 40 inches or something, isn't it?
24 inches.
Is that what the normal depth is? I don't know.
That's the tank I would get if I was a wimp. So I understand. It's fine.
Oh, that's fighting talk. And then it's 30 inches in it then for the big one. Is that
exactly? Yeah, correct.
So I mean, if you think about it, it's not that many more inches, but
only 6 inches.
But it just feels like it would be so much bigger in my kitchen. So, but we'll see. Anyway, either way, yes. So I finally reached it, and it now comes down to. I know I've been like saying this for ages. It comes down to if the electricity bill is going to keep me poor, because like people are shutting down their tanks because of the electricity bill, and I have 10 tanks in the coral farm, and then do I want another one in the house? So
yeah,
that's the problem. But it will give me a place to store all my nice lobophilias.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, fair enough. So that's coming along. John Wright asks, Reef Dork, do you culture and dose phytoplankton? I never cultured it. I do sometimes. I have dosed phytoplankton, but not very often. Partly because it's a bit of a faff.
Do you notice a difference when you dose it?
Oh, I couldn't really tell you, to be honest. I've never. If the thing is, and this is the one good thing about companies sending you stuff for free.
Yeah.
If a phytoplankton company sent me something for free, I would have to document it.
Yeah.
And make it. And actually, because if I'm going to make a video, I need to be able to say, look, have I noticed a difference? Yes or no. But because I just buy it myself, and I'm not pitching for free phyto.
That's what it sounds like.
It would be a pain in the arse
it would be
to make a video for a 10 quid bottle of phyto. But that's the good side of it. But anyway, so I can't say I've noticed a difference because I've not really done it consistently. I just do it occasionally. I like it because it looks cool when it pours in your tank. And phyto is natural and good, and it feels like it should be good. And I'm sure it's a good thing. But I've never made a concerted effort to dose it regularly or put it on a dosing pump, for example.
Some people say that it is really good, and some people say all you're doing is adding nutrients to your tank. Now, it is the building blocks, basically, of the ocean. So in theory, it must have some purpose. But what that purpose is, I don't know if people know what it is.
If this is what it does, whether or not this is what it does, I don't know. But the reason I have added it when I have is 1, to feed corals.
Yeah.
And 2, to feed copepods and amphipods and that, because in theory, your copepods and amphipods should thrive if you're feeding phytoplankton. Whether or not, I couldn't tell you though. I've never made an effort to do it regularly and to check. And I mean, who counts copepods in their refugium?
Right.
But I don't know. But I feel like it's a good thing. But then I don't really care how high my nutrients are in my tank. And if I did, I probably would be a little bit more reluctant.
Speaking of receiving free things in the post, there was one more thing that happened this week. There was one more, and I think people should know this. I think this is important. Yeah. So I got home from work, in the middle of the day, because I worked like 3 minutes away, so I came home for lunch, and someone knocked on the door, and there was this parcel, and I was like, I did not order anything, and on this parcel it said co-host, which I had no idea what that meant, and I opened it. And inside was a nitrate Hannah checker. So my immediate response was, why did Hannah send me a Hannah checker? And how did they get my address? And then my second response was, I looked at where it came from, and there was a website. And I thought, why did those people send this to me? Oh, shit, now I owe them, which I didn't want. So I messaged Alex to say, these people have sent me this. They must have watched our live stream. It's become my live stream all of a sudden. They must have watched our live stream. And it turned out that Alex very kindly sent me a surprise present of a nitrate Hannah checker. So he's obviously in the mood, to give people gifts. So if anyone in the chat wants gifts from Alex, leave your address and it'll
put your bank details and your card details and your PIN number as well, and I'll send.
It was an incredibly kind thing to do, and I wanted to say thank you and to mention it. So
well, you are welcome, because you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it was delayed by a week. I phoned them to chase because it got stuck in the system somewhere. So you were supposed to get it last week, but you mentioned that you don't have a Hannah nitrate high range checker.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need it. Have you used it yet?
I have not used it, and the reason I haven't used it,
ungrateful bastard.
Wait. No, wait. I do all my water testing on Monday, and it arrived on Tuesday. So it's been the whole week, and now tomorrow I'll be using it for the first time.
Okay,
And that's genuinely true.
Yeah.
I just thought I might as well do them all together rather than just do it for fun. But I will definitely use it tomorrow, and I'll send a picture of me how much fun I'm having with it, like this.
You better do. You better enjoy it as well.
Yeah,
but no, because I know you enjoy this, and we do. We enjoy doing this stream, but you give up a lot of your time, so it's a small token of my appreciation.
Well, it literally made my day. So thank you very much.
There you go. Can I tell the story about the coffee?
Yeah, I don't care. That's fine.
So this is you told me this a couple of months ago, and this is just something you do from time to time. Ryan went through a drive-through coffee house, and paid for his own coffee, and then also said, "By the way, can I pay for the coffee for the guy behind me?" Like a random, it was only like, I don't know, 10 quid or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was, and then you just drove off. You weren't waiting for credit or whatever. You just did.
No, I didn't even know who was behind me. I didn't know if it turned out there was a mum and a daughter. Because I go to that coffee place quite regularly, and the woman who served me recognized it, and she told me who it was
nice.
a week later. But I think that I can't remember why I started doing it, but it's not reasonably frequently. Like, people often get free corals from me when they buy stuff, but they're still buying something. So like it's not the same if I just give them free corals. Whereas to do something for a completely random person, I asked a guy in Tesco's what his favorite alcoholic drink was, because he always seems so friendly to me, and no matter what time it is, and I bought it for him, and he didn't know what to do.
So I thought you were cracking onto him.
That was what I thought as well. I just said I really appreciate what you do. So, but if you can do random nice things for people, then you should do them, and hopefully they'll pass them on as well.
Pay it forward.
Yes,
and with the little kid.
So basically, by telling you that story, I spent £9 on a coffee, and I got a £60 hand checker in return.
There you go. So it was an investment.
Yes.
But anyway, so we'll move on back to the stream. So Andrew Patterson, and this is a question that's pertinent to me. Is there anything I can do to stop receding flesh on torch corals? I was excited until I saw it was a torch coral.
I do know something, but it is incredibly difficult to get hold of.
Is it ciprofloxacin?
Yes, it is. And there is a way to get hold of it, and you have to pretend you're going to Kenya. But don't say you got this from me on this YouTube channel. I didn't say that. I
heard, and I don't know if this is true. I heard that. Oh, and this is so that it's called Cipro. It's a short, but it's ciprofloxacin. And I think there's a thing called a Kung Fu Corals dip. Go and look at the Reef Dude's channel. He's done a KFC dip, it's called. And it's not like a barbecue sauce dip. But that's got Cipro in it, among other things, iodine and other things.
Yeah.
But Cipro is a bactericide. Apparently, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard it's also a treatment for chlamydia.
It does. I know it's definitely a treatment for travelers' diarrhea. I know that because that's what it says on the thing.
There you go. So get yourself chlamydia or diarrhea, and then go to the doctor, and you're sorted. So,
look, you didn't hear this from me, but there's definitely some websites that you can go on, and to find it.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's actually I've got 2 torches that are receding at the moment.
You got from me, like a year ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. To be fair, one of them is looking knackered. The other one of the heads has died. The other 2 are fine. And I did think they were getting too much flow. I realised. So that was one thing actually. And you might, if your power head is pointing directly at it, even if it's a foot or 2 away.
Yeah,
that might be a problem, and it's got better since then. But I think it's not long for this world. I would like to dip it in Cipro, but it's getting hold of it in the UK anyway.
I don't know anyone that has any, but if you contact me after the stream, I might be able to. I don't know anyone who has any. Basically, I'm not even sure if you're allowed to say if you've got it or not. I don't know, but I definitely.
I've got no idea, but I think people use it in the States legitimately. And if you go Kung Fu Corals, if you're in America, Google Kung Fu Corals and order one of their dips. I don't know if it works, but it sounds like it does, and lots of people who are sensible talk about it. But when it was flesh receding, so I bought a what's it called, a torch? No, not a torch. Trumpet coral.
Yeah.
Yesterday, and I dipped in H2O2, hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
50-50 water and peroxide. I've never done it before, and I wanted to try it. The coral don't bloody like it.
I was gonna say, I was like I'd say I don't know, but people do all sorts of things in this hobby, which makes me like dipping in Dettol and stuff like that. But
things like a Coral RX, which you use, is bleach and tea tree oil.
Well, I just like.
But the point is
on the bottle,
exactly. Someone has mixed it to the correct quantities and put an instructions on it. But so with that, it started to recede in one. It might be okay, but it might be knackered. But anyway, my plan is to feed it.
And the other thing I was going to say about torch corals that are receding, check really, really closely for pests. There is a type of flatworm which eats around basically the edge of the torch, and then it basically eats its way inwards. So it recedes all the way until there's nothing left. But it's like, and the flatworm looks identical to the color of the coral. It's like a browny gray color, and those definitely will could be what's happening with it. Usually the way that people notice them is because they have orange eggs. So when you look really closely at them, you'll see all these little orange dots, and and then after they see that, they then see the flatworm.
So this is polyclad flatworms, right?
Polyclad flatworms, I think. Have you got a picture of them?
Yeah, they're bloody massive.
No, they're usually on clams, I think, polyclad flat. But if you've got a picture, show me and I'll see if it's the right one.
All right, hang on. Let me share my screen. I've just share screen. Screen 2, share. Add to dynamic. There we go. Oh,
it's not those ones. If you no, because if you type in Euphilia flatworm, it will probably come up. But those polyclad flatworms are the ones that usually affect clams, I think.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just going to check something.
Oh, just leave me. Okay, I'm just on my own now. So.
Good feeling. I like it. No, it's just it's got hot in here, and I wondered if the radiator was on, but it's not.
I thought you were literally going for a roam, basically, and coming back in 20
I know, yeah. But yeah, check for pests as well. But they're just to be honest, with the ones that I've got, because I can't get hold of Cipro, I've written them off, and I've decided if they pull through, they pull through, and I've turned down the flow, and that's helped. But in all likelihood, one of them's definitely gone. The other one is not. So
it's a shame because they were doing really well for ages.
Yeah, they were doing great. Yeah, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
I've got another question, and this is a really good question, and you've got to promise me that you'll answer it because this is a professional stream.
I think I've seen this one already, but let's see what it is. I knew it was going to be that one. I knew. I saw that earlier. I was like, when's this one coming up?
You promised me you'd answer it, so.
Definitely me.
There you go.
Yeah.
That sounds like fighting talk to me.
Yeah. Well, after how rude you were in your text messages by basically claiming I was dumb the other day.
Was I rude?
Yeah, I posted it on Instagram and Facebook for everyone to see today.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I've never had so many people laugh at one of my posts as to that post I put out today.
There you go.
So yeah.
So you want to beat me up as a result? Okay. Interesting. Paul Elif on back onto reefing questions. I've got a question about my one spot Foxface has broke one of his spines on its dorsal fin about a week ago. Has gone a yellow fleshy lump around it. Seems fine otherwise. Any advice? Don't
do anything. Just leave it.
Yeah.
That's like fish sometimes get like their whole eye spot bitten off in the wild. Let's say if it's got an eye spot like a butterfly fish, and then it regrows, they just repairs basically. So I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
I am however intrigued by how it broke its spine. Was that in a net? Or because they don't usually break them by themselves.
That's true. Yeah, I wonder. Hang on. I'm gonna try a feature. This might not work, but I'm gonna try it. One second. So I'm gonna say something, but there's a button that says push to talk, and this should just go to you, but it might go to everyone. So 1 second. There's a question about Mindy. Do you want to answer it? Did you hear that?
You just said that you hate everyone in chat, didn't you?
That's not what I said.
I did hear what you said. I don't know if everyone else heard what you said. I haven't seen it. I'm trying to find it. Where did it come from? What happened to the America? Wait, have you posted that just to me or for everyone now?
That's to everybody. Yeah, yeah. What happened to the American reefer that moved to the UK to live with Prestige?
Uh,
Mindy's coral reef.
She's fine. She is fine. We actually we spoke this morning. So Mindy and I are no longer together. We haven't been together for basically a year now, but we do stay in contact with each other quite often, especially more recently. So you never know. You never know. But for whatever reason, it just didn't. It didn't work out for us. So it's not like, as I said, this is not about reef keeping, but basically, it's not easy for me to go there, and it's not easy for her to come here, and it would be difficult for anyone. But we stayed friends, and that's it. So moving on.
There we go. Moving swiftly on. Craig Pierce.
I don't.
By the way,
when people ask me, it's. I think Mindy asked when we broke up not to discuss it, so I don't.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, there we go, and that's why I don't. I'm sure you guys will tell me if you heard my comment, but we'll see if that
They
feature
were all lip
works.
reading anyway.
I know. Yeah. Well, you wouldn't. Anyway, Craig Pierce. What's the best way to lower phosphate when using a canister filter? I'd use GFO in a reactor, but with no sump, that's not an option.
That is an option.
Put it in the canister filter.
You could do that, or you could just with the canister filter, take the pipe, run it through a phosphate remover, and then run it back in like a reactor, and then run it back into the tank.
Yeah.
So it would work, although it would slow down the return because if the pump is blasting it through, the phosphate remover will be going crazy. But in theory, you could run it through.
Someone suggested lanthanum. I'm not sure that's such a good idea.
I have used
with a canister filter.
I have used no, because lanthanum you need to have a 5 micron sock to catch the solid particles from it.
Ideally, yeah. So Malev doesn't use anything to catch it, but most people do.
Yeah, but he's a legend.
He is.
He does what he wants. He's like a rose.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'd just be a bit cautious. But and I personally wouldn't use it with a canister filter. What I would do is water changes.
Yeah, that's also
and
true.
Don't overfeed, which you might not be doing already. But
I'm trying to work out in the comments you are. What's your
so we're this 249 for Mexo. Oh, I think that might be a super chat.
You've had a few super chats, but they're not showing up, are they? You've had one for $5, you've had one for £10, and you've had that one. So you're loaded tonight.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I'll come to them.
I'm looking forward to the rest of my Hannah checkers.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's really annoying. Okay, because it doesn't tell me. All right. Well, I will. I'll come to them. But I think this is a super chat. It just on my screen it just says 249 from Exiled 11. So I think that is
they are super chats.
Okay. Well, I will get to them. Fear not. Best way to get rid of dinos. Ooh. So there's a group on Facebook called Mac Max Dinoflagellate Support Group. Go on that and follow their guidance. I mean, there are some ways that might work instantly. Turn your temperature up a bit. You run a UV sterilizer, but you need to identify the type of dinoflagellate you have first. There are 4 key groups that respond to different treatments. Their Max group will guide you on this. Identify what type of dinoflagellate it is, and then treat based on that. When I've had success in the past, I've used UV, and I've put the UV into and out of the display tank, not the sump, crucially, and get your nutrients back under control, because it can be kicked off by nutrients bottoming out. That putting them back up won't fix it, but it will stop it potentially coming back. But Max Dinoflagellate Support Group is the best place for that, in my opinion. You're going to say copepods.
No, that was the other thing, obviously, that I've remembered from from VRS's videos. But yeah, copepods do eat dinoflagellates as well. The thing with I watched that back. Do you know how much money they spent on copepods in a 2-foot tank? I know, it was loads. I think
$400.
Yeah.
So buy €400 worth of copepods.
Yeah. Or you could just put them in and then wait for them to populate. But
I don't think. I liked that they discovered that, but I don't think that's a cure, to be honest. But maybe it is. But spend €400 and feedback
and find out.
But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And but Max Dinoflagellate Support Group on Facebook is the way to go. Have many people had success with lanthanum? I tried it. And I just didn't. I don't have the huevos. I don't have the stones for it.
I have tried it myself, and I actually do think that it can harm corals as well. I don't know if it harms them because it takes the phosphate down too quickly, or if you're adding something that shouldn't be in there. But I definitely had some weird random coral deaths when I used it. And
okay.
And it's hard to see. I'm telling people this now, but that could have been something else that was happening at the time. It could have been the ventilation system had sucked something in, which was specific to my area, which was affecting the corals at that time. So there are people that use it successfully, but oh, I know, Jamie. Jamie, stick with what you're doing. It's Raufoss, Raufoss, or the what is it? Roa, the Niles one is the one I use.
Yeah, LME Foss or Fozzie X.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I've got ahead, by the way. So because this the thing that the software I'm using doesn't show super chats, I've loaded up. This live stream is running on my second screen now.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I've just seen that everybody said we heard it. Yeah, we all heard it. The Mindy comment.
No, but are they just messing around? They might be messing around.
No, for sure they heard it. I'm sure because anyway. But there you go. So stick with Lanthanum. I don't know. Google Lanthanum chloride. Go onto Ultimate Reef and look at people's results with that, because
another super chat come in. $20.
People do have stories, and they're not good stories. Right. So I've seen a super chat, and I will post it in a minute. In fact, let me find it. 20. Here we go. BNN0070. $20. Thank you very much. Thanks for being awesome. Love what you do. Well, thank you. Love what you do as well.
This is proof that when you do nice things for people, you get more back in return.
Karma. There you go. But there we go. So okay. So Lanthanum. I wouldn't bother with it personally. And you're the same basically, right?
Yeah, I stick with what I know. And I saw Jamie's tank 2 days ago. Jamie's the one with the angelfish. I definitely would be just getting things under control using Raufoss but his tank looks great anyway.
There you go. So that's the other thing.
It's not broke. Don't try and change it.
Learn to accept yes for an answer. Yeah. Do you think this is following up earlier a viable, profitable method of aquaculture? Would you ever consider doing it yourself? Do you think it's the future of the hobby? So this is a similar question to what was asked before. Is spawning viable? It is, and I think he's asking a follow-up question basically. But I would never consider. Well, never say never. I wouldn't currently consider doing it myself because it's difficult and it takes a long time. Is it the future of the hobby? Methods need to advance. People need to figure it out and work out if it is profitable. At the moment, it's probably not profitable because you'd need to sell. If it takes you 9 months to a year to breed, to grow a Cataphilia to the point that you can sell it, that's a lot of electricity, a lot of overheads without any money coming in. Yeah. You'd need to get a lot of them. So I think this is why I think it's probably a long way away. Would I consider doing it myself? No. I've got too many other things on.
It will only work when all of a sudden they're now worth £1,000 because you can't get them anymore. That's
well, there you go. Then I'll be mad for it. ChemiClean worked for me with dinos. That's weird. I've never heard that before. I wonder what that did. But anyway, Simple Reef. Oh, we've got a sales question.
Nice.
Placing an order. I'm looking to buy a mystery box off you, the LPS one, without telling me what's in the box. What's in the box?
That's a secret. Even I don't know what's in the box because when I pick the mystery boxes, and this is genuinely true, I walk in and go, what do I feel like picking up today? and that's some people have had Raja Rampage in just a standard mystery box. It's not unusual for people to get Gonnies and things like that. But it literally does. You won't get anything rubbish, but like you'll get a whole range of things. But usually you get one thing people go, wow, this is really good, and then a whole range of other things.
One thing I have heard, you've said this before, if you buy 3, you get a trackie for show.
Someone did buy 3, and they did get a Trackophilia. Yes,
150 quid trackie, and they're nice trackies.
Was it 3 or 2? I can't remember what they.
Oh, there you go, 2. We've reduced it. Guarantee. It's a legally binding contract.
Put Reef Dork in the discount code. If it works, then you can have it. You can have a trackie. It won't work.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll see a load of people now trying to enter Reef Dork to see if it works.
Yeah, it should do.
I
I want 10% commission. So
I think someone did buy 3 once, and they did get a tracker. Yes.
there you go. Long spine urchin. Someone's got shouting out long spine urchins.
That's even worse.
I've never kept a long spine urchin because the clues in the name, they're about a foot long. They're like a bloody rugby ball, aren't they?
They're quite agile in a reef. Like,
yeah, but I bet they are. But
I think they can still get themselves into like the tiniest crevices. And you're like, how have you even got in there? You're like this big.
That's cool. I'd love one. I think they're really cool. And that was growing up. That's the sort of thing that I saw in the sea that, you know, I would like to replicate. But
I had one from a tank breakdown. They've got this really weird squidgy eye on top. Have you ever seen them? This bright orange eye.
No, I don't.
Have a look at them properly. Next time you see one, in the middle, you'll see a big squidgy orange eye. It's really odd. Cool.
James's Foxface won't eat green hair algae.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They don't always do it. Sea hares are best for algae problems. I don't like sea hares. I've never tried one, but they just don't. They don't appeal to me because people always say you put them in your tank, it will clear it out, and then you have to get rid of it, otherwise it will die.
Yeah, the best thing I found is you need to have it so that you get all the hair algae out, and then put snails in. Snails I find are better than hermit crabs, and then get a tang as well. If the tank's big enough, get a tang, and you'll never have an algae problem again. Doesn't even matter what your phosphates and nitrates are. If you have those things, you won't have a problem because they keep, as long as you have enough predators, you won't have, they keep on top of it. Because you have high phosphates, don't you?
Yeah.
And you have high nitrates as well.
Not really. I think they're about 10 or 15 last time I checked.
You have hair algae growing in places where fish can't get to, don't you?
Hair algae, no.
Oh.
I have other. I don't know what it is actually. It's quite wiry. Maybe it's not hair algae. I don't know. I have algae growing. It never gets really big.
White one you gave me, is it?
No, so I don't know what that is. I don't think that's an algae.
Is that like crusty white? Like.
Yeah, I don't ever see it because it's in anyway.
Again.
But I get algae growing where fish can't reach it. And anytime, so today I've broken off a big Zoa rock that I'm selling, and I moved it out of the way. And instantly, the hawkfish, the copper band, and the tang were in there, like going, "Oh, what's there? Is there anything in I can eat there?" Because they can see this space that that they hadn't seen before. Anyone had any luck with Dino X? I think so. I did see on Ultimate Reef this week, Andy, Opinionated Reefer, tried it and it had wiped out his corals, I think, or harmed a lot of his corals. So the trouble with Dino, with some things like Dino X is, you can follow all the instructions and it'll still go pear-shaped. Whereas if you follow the dinoflagellate support group guide, they will steer you on what to do rather than just like a scattergun approach. Because Dino X might be the reason people use it is because it feels like it's going to be easy. But really you need to work a bit harder to do it properly. But you might have luck with it. Some people have, but I don't know. I just don't. I prefer to avoid that. UV is a wicked way. If you've got the type that responds to UV, it's wicked because there's no downside.
Easy.
Yeah, and it's easy. Yeah. It costs a bit. It costs a few quid, but hey, Zoa, Xenia, and Duncan, all from Prestige Reef.
Yeah, and did I tell you not to buy the Xenia? Yes, I did. And did you buy it anyway? Yes, you did.
I've just realised. Normally, I've got a border on this stream that's pulsing Xenia, a photo.
Yeah,
and I've forgotten to set it up, so I'll have to do that. Yeah, and more Dino questions.
Yeah, someone at the very beginning said you've got a black background, and I now realise what it meant. Because on YouTube, there's just this black thing. It's just a black square around us.
I'll change that for next time, and I'll try to fix other things anyway. Question: when coralline algae grows to problematic proportions, what can you help to reduce it other than urchins? Urchins. No, I'm sure there's a reason you don't want an urchin, but urchins, microbial solutions. If you the simple way is to get an urchin, even if it means that he moves some of your frags around, just deal with it and then get rid of him when he's done the job. I don't want to say get rid of him.
That's what I wonder. Like, how bad has your coralline algae got to be for it to be problematic?
I've seen like massive slabs of coralline before. Like it can go crazy, but
yes, but as long as you keep on, like, you want it on the rocks, which is good. But if it becomes an issue if it's growing on the glass because it's a pain in the ass to clean off. But if you just keep on top of it, it doesn't grow.
So, Fair enough. But no, I wouldn't mess around with other things. I would use what works. The best solution is for coralline algae. If you think that's a problem, is an urchin. I know that's you. I'm sure there's reasons you don't want that. Any update on Vibrant? No, I've not heard anything. So last I heard, the Minnesota Environmental Protection Agency, I think, had we're going to go and do an inspection, a for cause inspection. But that was months ago. I emailed the Minnesota EPA and I said, "Can you tell me anything about it?" And I didn't get a reply, unsurprisingly. But no, I don't think we're going to hear anything about it. It's still on sale in the shops.
I don't even know. I know it's got some algae aside or something like that. You said or something. I don't know.
So this is so I didn't say that. Let's not misquote this. So this was there was someone did a study on Reef to Reef.
Yeah.
And I found that no one was talking about it. So I did a live stream where I just basically said what this study had found. And it's not nothing. What this study says is that Vibrant says it's bacteria, among a couple of other things, that eats algae basically, but it's not. This study says it's not. It's an algicide. And that's a problem because if you're buying an algicide, you're not going to put that in your tank. And if you do, you want to know what it is. So if
it works, and it does work for some people, does it?
But that's the thing. But there are plenty of people it hasn't worked for, and it's wiped out all their corals. And if they had known that it was an algicide, allegedly, would they have done it? No. So I would be proper pissed off. But the whole point is, you need to know what. It doesn't matter if it works or not. And this is the doubt. So that live stream. If you go on the Reef Dork Extra channel, there's an 8-minute summary of the Vibrant situation.
Yeah.
I was really fair. Because I said one of the things I said was this has been around for years, so it's not like it's a new product that's suddenly come onto the market and is wiping out everyone's tank. People have used it for years, but it's not nothing. And if the Environmental Protection Agency are inspecting, but I've got no idea. I've not heard anything. I wouldn't expect to hear much. Anyway. One thing when testing parameters, you have nuisance algae, taking the readings with a grain of salt. Oh yeah, because it sucks up.
My Alexa's just started talking to me.
Mine has actually as well. Maybe you heard mine.
No, mine is going. Maybe they've sent everyone a message. It says today is something day.
They're taking over, Ryan.
Yes,
it's the moment has come. Right.
So I wasn't listening, so I was too busy trying to work out what was going on.
Say goodbye to your family. The robots are here. All right. Congrats on 50,000 subscribers. Well, thank you very much, Jamie's Reef. I hit the mark this week. I was watching it. I didn't make any announcements or whatever.
Why am I not surprised you're watching it?
And do you know, so I was getting to the point where I was because I'm such a dork with this. I was getting to the point where I was refreshing it, and let's get and I'm going to show you.
If you had told me, do you know what I would have done?
You would unsubscribe.
As soon as it went over the 50k mark, I would have unsubscribed to put you back underneath it.
The thing is, it was going up one every 5 minutes or whatever, so that wouldn't have taken much. But
sorry.
I know. So I there you go. I got a screenshot at 49,999.
Yeah.
Oh, and then a screenshot of 50,000. So, so there we go. But there you go. Thank you very much. It's kind of you. Have you dealt with Chlorpa racemosa algae in your displays? Never used Chlorpa at all. So no, even in the refugium. You haven't either because you've never used a refugium.
No, I've never had a refugium, no.
Danny's Aquarium would disagree about asteridas.
What, I've not with me or you? Because
with me, presumably.
Both of us.
I've not caught up with his most recent videos, but best Aptasia, I presume that means Aptasia fish for a fish only with live rock. What? Best Aptasia? That means Aptasia, right?
I assume so. For a fish only with live rock, no fish.
No yellow fish. That can't be right because the answer is Aptasia eating filefish. What fish do you mean? What does Aptasia mean? If you mean Aptasia eating filefish, I would go for.
Yeah,
they're a bit drab, but
it is a fish only with live rock, and it depends what's in there.
Anything, loads of what are they called? Loads of butterflies. Yeah.
But
raccoons.
Again,
I mean, they're yellow, but
this is one of those situations where we might be telling people to get a butterfly to go in with a load of triggerfish because we don't know what the fish only with live rock situation is. So,
this is true.
But yeah, butterfly fish will eat it, but only if you.
Butterflies and filefish.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what the hell has happened to my chat thing? There we go. Right. So, Vince at Aquarium Connections has a facility that's spawning corals already. Now, he works with Jamie Craggs.
Yes.
And I think it was Vince who set up this. It's like it's in a shipping container.
Yeah.
And it's got the tanks in it. And I think it's Vince who's or Aquarium Connections who've created this spawning facility. And there's dozens of them around the world already. But yeah, there we go. Interesting stuff. What else have we got going on? Un calvo y no un calvo. What does calvo mean? I've got to look that up now. I'm probably swearing, aren't I? Calvo.
I mean,
that's hilarious.
Why? What does it mean?
It means a bald and a not bald, basically.
Oh, did you? Someone posted on the on my Instagram the picture of us, which is obviously the picture at the for this live stream, and they said, what did they say? They said before and after pictures of see the results after 2 weeks of hair for men.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm getting through messages saying the what's it called? The Reef Dork code does not work on your website.
Oh yes, surprise!
But there you go.
Imagine if I secretly made you like a discount code. Sometimes I do this. I'll make a specific discount code for one person. Imagine if ages ago, 2 years ago, I made one specifically for you.
And I hadn't used it.
And everyone's now using it.
Never mind. Well, I could live with that. $4.99 super chat. I've caught up. Thank you very much, Rogue Aquariums. And Rogue Aquariums says, watching you both is always entertaining. Thanks, guys, for some of the knowledge you both share. You're welcome. Thank you for joining the chat. You're here regularly, so good to have you along. Thank you. Just another reefer. Do you guys know of any UK reef shows that are coming? We'd love to go to one. Missed Coral Freaks, sadly, and was planning on going to Coraltastic. I've not heard of that. That I think got cancelled. There was one called, it wasn't Coraltastic. It was, oh God, maybe it was Coraltastic. I can't remember. It got cancelled last year, maybe. And they said they were going to put it back on again. And they've gone very, very quiet indeed. So,
as far as I know, there isn't any, but not that I know of.
No. There was a very small one recently called Love to Reef, but it was like 50 people.
Yeah.
Looked quite good, but it was small. So, and I presume you're thinking along the line of Coral Freaks. And
what I will say is, if you get the chance, and I know there's a lot of money involved, go to one of the shows in America. Yeah. Because we can hope for as much as we want to have a reef show here, but it will never be anything, or won't, not for years and years, be anything like even Coral Freaks wasn't like Macno or anything like that. Coral Freaks was obviously, it was a nice show for the UK, but to go to Macno where they've been doing it for, I don't know, 20 years or something, and the room is massive and there's thousands of people, literally thousands of people, all in the same room, all talking about fish tanks. So we're never going to get that here, not anytime soon anyway. So it's well worth going. Plus, it's a reason to go to America.
Not a bad excuse.
You never know. You might meet Mindy. I did.
There you go. But yeah, Coral Freaks might come back. I talked to AAC a few months ago, and they were talking about possibly doing it again. So go and pester them, basically, because the more people who say, yeah, do it, the more likely it is, maybe. I don't know. Do you run Calcwasser and two-part in the coral room? You don't run Calc, do you?
No.
You're scared of it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I wonder if I'd set it up differently if I did it again. I don't know. I would consider a calcium reactor.
Oh, really?
But I just dose them individually, dose calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium individually. I like
see.
What the
stuff do you use? Yeah.
No, I actually buy the pharmaceutical
chemicals
versions, which are like a fraction of the cost. So you can buy a branded version of sodium bicarbonate, which is all it is, for I don't know, £20 for like a kilo, or you can get the non-branded version. You can get like 25 kilos. So but this is what people learn in my consultancy. I save you money by showing you what to buy.
This is true. So I bought Calcwasser that's I used to buy Sea Chem, yeah, and it was Sea Chem is, I think it was a kilo for 30 quid or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've now bought 5 kilos for £17.
Yeah. So,
and that's not even the cheapest it gets. If you buy more, it's cheaper. But
that's what happens. But the longer you're in the hobby, the sooner you start to realize that there is something called an aquarium tax, where what they do is they stick a little picture of a fish on it, and they go, "This is now 3 times the price."
This is very true.
And people are fearful; they don't want to put something in their tank which is untested.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you comfort. And I did with Sea Chem.
Yeah.
Alex is looking sexy today, is how I read that. Is that what it says? Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Alex's lighting is looking sexy. I'm glad you said that, because I've spent a lot of time getting my lighting right, and I think I've nailed it now.
I'm dyslexic, so the words move around for me, and I genuinely read that as the lighting is making Alex look sexy today.
Which is also true. So
I move around and I add a few extra words.
This well, there you go. But you're right, Alex is looking sexy. But there's so many things that I spend time that no one's really interested in. I'm going to tell you anyway. Like trying to make it look better. Even so I'm wearing a dark t-shirt today. It's actually dark blue. I think it might be black. But the reason I'm doing that is because it blends the microphone away, so it doesn't stand out so much. I've also taken off a couple of bits of equipment so it doesn't look so big.
You're so weird.
I'm buying a new microphone on Monday that it will sit a bit lower.
What?
And it's still good quality because I at the moment it sticks over my shoulder, whereas this one will sit down here and it will be more subtle.
You have a problem.
I do have a problem
because no one cares.
I know. Question to you both: do you have copepods in your tank? Yes.
Yes.
Iron. I also have little. I think they're Mysis shrimp. They're like free swimming. You have them?
No, nothing. I don't think anything free swimming will survive in my tank with fish.
In the sump, anyway. Copepods, yes, for sure. And as soon as I move my algae magnet off the glass and just let it drop onto the sand, because it's a tunsy, it doesn't float, my copper band and my hawkfish are straight over one of my hawkfish looking, and they always suck up any copepods that escape. I see it. It's cool.
The good thing for me is that every time new corals go in as well, although they go through the dipping process, things do, like some of the copepod stuff do survive. So I'm constantly adding new variations of things to the tank, and it's interesting because as soon as you put new corals in, the fish are, as you said, literally direct on it straight away. So,
and how do you feed them? I don't feed them directly. There's just so much nutrition in my tank.
Yeah,
food that goes in, algae, all stuff. So I don't bother. I think this is reference to the HANA checker. Because someone wants Howard wants a refractory pH meter.
yeah, that is, yeah.
And Ben Williams, super chat, £10. Apologies for the delay. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. No comment. So, and I think this is just a load of emojis.
It is emojis, yeah.
But there we go. And he's saying fire. Why am I pasting that? Right. This is the trouble with these live streams, is even when there's 2 people, when I start going, right, let's look at the next comment, I have to go silent because I can't.
Well, I'm not even reading them usually, so I just turn up.
All right. So I've not read this yet, but it looks like a question. Just setting up a wee nano tank. Can I put a bio-ball from my 2-year-old reef tank to get it cycled, or do I need to add bacteria? I would do both. I always put something. What are you chuckling at?
It's because we've just got to the bit where you obviously were talking about Starbucks, and Les said things are a bit tight at the moment. I might start following Ryan around.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so I always put in a piece of live rock, actually, either from a shop or from my sump, and I have used Cyperax before. In fact, I put a piece of Cyperax in that when I set it up. That's not doing very well, by the way, unsurprisingly. But yeah, I would do that. But I would also add back a bottle of bacteria as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, ciprofloxacin and amoxicillin. I've used the Kung Fu Corals dip in tank treatment. Oh, in tank treatment, interesting. There you go. But it's in America. You can buy the stuff. It gives you a recipe. You can buy the stuff separately over here. But yeah. So Les is going to start following Ryan around. What's happening? What's happening?
Someone's written, is there anything I can do to stop my hairline receding? That's over to you, although I'm not sure you've got the advice for that one.
There is not, I can tell you. There's, I mean, close. You've heard the expression "closing the gate after the horse has bolted."
Yeah.
We'll come on to that. If you only have one or two torch hammers, this is you're talking about other. Yeah, is there anything I can do to stop my hairline receding on my head? So there is shampoo, like is it Alpacin caffeine shampoo that supposedly works, but I suspect that's bollocks. But I know you're taking the piss. I know it's a joke question, but yeah.
If I buy you that shampoo, will you use it for a week for me just to see?
Maybe it'll grow back. Yeah, I tell you, buy some instead of, because this, closing the gate after the horse is bolted. Send me some shoe polish,
Yeah,
and I'll just apply it and see if it looks natural.
it'd be so good if you had done that just for one stream where it looks like you've got like a shaved head.
But yeah. And I think this is talking about getting chlamydia. Go to Turkey, work for Wayne Rooney.
Is there
We'll move on.
with having nitrates of 40 ppm? Mine have been.
Whoa!
What?
Who's in charge here?
Well, I'm trying to help you because a minute ago you were moaning that I was silent when you were reading.
For God's sake.
Okay, fine. I'll
Sorry,
just
everybody.
silently.
Some people get ideas above their station. The trouble is, I can't go and I'll catch up with that, but
That's
I can't
okay.
post the question. But
Oh, okay, yeah, fine. Then I'll just sit here silently.
oh, I've upset him.
Yeah.
Last week I took rocks that most my corals were on because I saw bristle worms on them and didn't like seeing them. May have gotten 15 bristle worms off, selling them at $20 per worm if you want them. I think that's joking, but I'd never understood why people get rid of bristle worms.
I know. I like bristle worms.
You hardly ever see them. If you've got millions in your tank to the point they're all over the place, you're feeding too much.
But even then, they don't come out in the day. So I've never seen a tank where they're all over the place in the day. At night, you see them on the sand, yes, but they're good.
Yeah, I don't get it. Josue might be joking, to be fair, but I've never understood getting rid of bristle worms because they are really good cleanup crew. They don't do any harm. So is there anything wrong with nitrates at 40? Mine have been there for a while, and my corals haven't looked better. Have never looked better, I presume. I have close to 0 nuisance algae. Happy days. I wouldn't want nitrates at 40, but if everything's spot on, looks great, and it has been for a while, I wouldn't worry. Although I don't think I'd want it to get much higher than that.
I'm too frightened to say anything.
You may talk.
My last response to this question.
I tell you what, I will say now from now on, you may talk, and then you can talk.
Thank you, Master. Thank you. I wouldn't.
You may talk.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I actually agree with you. If they're fine at 40, I wouldn't worry. But the only problem is that when you add a new coral, that might not be fine at 40. But if your tank is currently fine at 40 and you're not planning to add anything, then I'd leave it.
I think that's sound advice. But if that was me, if that was my tank, I would probably actually try to bring that down gently. Because it might be good now, but it might not be in 6 months' time, and that is too high. But if everything's fine, probably leave it.
You want to aim for like 10, basically. Between 5 and 10 is what I run the coral farm at.
Yeah, okay. And I've now caught up with all the Mindy comments. Everyone's laughing at me.
Is that what this is? Are we all heard?
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, Ryan, would you like to pick a question for me to post up?
No, because now you put me on the spot and you want to ask me to read. Why won't the LFS tell me a whale shark?
Whale shark.
Well, there's probably a reason for that. Firstly, you won't get a whale shark in your local fish shop. But I have a feeling he might be joking. Just maybe.
Might be. I mean, if you've got tang police, imagine what the whale shark police would be like.
Yeah, true.
Have you guys had any luck with starfish? They die
yes.
after 3 to 6 months.
Yes, starfish. The only starfish you want are serpent starfish or brittle starfish, but don't get the green one for the brittle starfish.
They eat fish, don't they?
They do. But all other serpent or brittle starfish are fine, and stay away from everything else.
I thought a serpent star was a brittle star, was a type of brittle star.
Brittle starfish, well, they might be the same, but basically the ones that in the shop that are referred to brittle starfish have like lots of things coming off their legs. Whereas the serpent starfish don't have those bristles.
Gotcha. Okay.
There are other starfish which are easy to keep, such as chocolate chip starfish, but you don't want to get those if you've got corals. And why would you get a starfish Why would you? Yeah, why would you have corals? Not have corals, but have a starfish. So yes, basically, red serpent starfish are the pinnacle of starfish you can have. Stay away from Phromeas, the linkier ones, the blue ones, and especially the feather ones.
I've been looking at Linkia, blue Linkia starfish.
No. Don't get sand either.
Don't
all
get what?
These stars, they all die.
Yeah, this is I every time I think about it every year or so, and I do a bit of research, and I'll find something that someone will say, "Oh yeah, I've had one for 3 years." So I'm like, "Ooh," but I resist.
Yeah.
But every now and then, I'm like,
they usually get this like weird infection or something where their legs turn white and just dissolve. Whereas serpent starfish, it's because we don't know what starfish eat, but we do know that serpent starfish eat meat. So they think Phromeas starfish eat sponges. I think it's the same as the linkier ones. But I've had some of my serpent starfish probably for at least 12 years, and they're still
yeah. I've got a brittle star. It's I'll bring it up on screen actually. It's add to dynamic. It's this one in the top right hand corner. And I see him every now and then, normally when I move a rock or something. And I've had him for years. They're really cool.
Yeah, they're those ones that eat.
You don't see them often.
They're the good ones.
Yeah. So there we go. We have a super chat I've caught up on. BNN 0070, $20. Did you do a super chat earlier? I've mentioned to comment for you. Thanks for being awesome. Love what you do. Well, thank you very much. And Ryan, BNN 0070 says thanks for being awesome to you as well.
Thank you.
And more on the this clever little subtle
something about Mindy.
Good name for a film, actually.
It did say that you had. It did come up on my screen saying that you were specifically speaking to me when you did that. But I wonder if
I wonder if I have to mute my microphone and then press the little because there's a little chat thing. I'm going to try that actually. 1 second.
I can hear you do that, yeah, and it comes up on my screen saying moderator speaking to you.
There we go. So I muted the microphone. So tell me if you heard that or if you just saw my lips doing that. But I think that's the way I'm supposed to do it anyway.
Not that we ever have this is a feature that I doubt we're ever going to need.
Exactly. Yeah. So she came to the UK, saw Alex's glorious shiny head, and the rest can be settled in the boxing ring. Thomas Woodley, as someone I love 3D printing stuff. As someone who owns a 3D printer and seeing you promote 3D printed parts, it would be cool to see you get an Ender 3 V2. Oh yeah, actually, I googled that today, funnily enough, all the likes, and show how easy and cheap over multiple prints it is. And the Ender 3, so I googled Ender 3D printer today, and I think it was like 200 quid. I don't know if it's the 3 V2, but I thought about that actually. I've thought about setting up a 3D printer. And potentially making stuff. 200 quid, yeah. So, are you into 3D printed stuff?
For me, no. Sorry, I was reading the chat, so I wasn't even listening to you.
Fair enough. Anyway, 3D printed stuff is wicked.
There's a lot of 3D printed stuff on the coral farm because the people that built it were using a 3D printer a lot to do things, to make things that had to be custom made, like fittings and stuff like that. But I see why people use them, but I would have no use for one in my day-to-day life. No.
Well, you say that, but that's
I don't even do a normal printer.
No, it's true. But this is one example. This is the little Tunzi Auto top off. I showed this last week, but the Tunzi Auto top off pump that sits in it always sits on the side. I can never get it to stand up. It's supposed to stand up, and it sucks from the bottom. This little 3D printed stand cost me £9 off eBay. Aquarium 3D prints, I think they're called. £9, and it stands up. And I've got 2 of them now, and they both stand up. They're amazing.
Well, one day I'll get one when I set up the. I mean, to be fair, I have successfully run a reef tank without one of those for a long time.
This is true.
I
might get you. But Thomas, I might get one. I like the idea of having one, to be honest. And this is one point. So Lanthanum made all my snails lethargic. I've read loads of stories about it, Lanthanum killing snails.
Yeah.
Probably if you're dosing too much, but maybe not.
We are so far behind on the comments. I've just scrolled all the way down to the bottom.
Oops. I'll try to speed up. Let's do it. Sometimes quiz shows and stuff do a speed round.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the presenter and you can be the contestant, and I'm going to do speed round questions. Right, go. Oh, my cat just pooed himself in. Ryan, would Rofoss work in a Seachem tidal filter?
I have no idea what that even is.
Sorry, posted the one question twice. We did hear it. This isn't working, is it? I don't know what a Seachem tidal filter is either.
No.
Ryan, any advice on a blue-spotted jawfish?
The main reason they don't live long is because they jump out. But I know some people who have them. James.
Next question.
That's fine.
No.
So they have to go in with the right fish, and you have to make sure you have a lid, because if you don't have a lid, it 100% will jump out. They are some of the worst fish for jumping.
So they also come from, I think they come from Mexico, and they come from cool waters. And I'm not talking 24 degrees. I'm talking 18 degrees.
Really?
Don't know what that is. Yeah. 18 C in F, which is 64 Fahrenheit. And good luck keeping corals in 18 or 64 degrees. So they don't live long because of that. Supposedly, some people do have some success with. I spoke to Ed at Reef Keeper Moss End. Do you know Ed?
Yes.
Ed? Yeah. And he told me there's one collector he uses, and I can't remember where he told me they get them from, but they're better because they're from warmer waters. But most of them come from cool. I think it's Mexico. They come from cool waters. And they don't last long in proper temperatures. I have a yellow-headed jawfish. They're nowhere near as pretty. Yeah. And he set up camp at the back of my bloody tank, so I never see him unless food comes out. But he's fine. But blue-spotted jawfish.
It's like a legend.
Really?
Yeah, it's always out swimming around and everything.
Yeah, they're really cool, the blue spots, but just not probably. If you set up a tank specifically for it, cool, but otherwise, no. Ryan, can I make my own mystery box? I'll close my eyes and grab a handful.
I saw that earlier. It made me laugh.
Sorry, not ChemiClean. I meant Dino X. I did think that was weird. Cool. We'll move on. Been using Alex's TMC mini reactor method for a Rofoss and finally having success. Great. I usually fail with reactors as they're a pain in the arse. So thank you, Alex. Brilliant video and advice. Did you see that video?
Me?
Yeah. Sure. You don't watch my videos, do you? You guys.
Sure. I think you showed it on a live stream once, so I know it's the one where you could just pull it out.
That's it. Yeah, they're really good. To be fair, I should have emailed TMC beforehand and said, "Can I have a code whereby I get a commission?" But still, I had LCA dinos. I don't know what that is. Absurd amount of pods, live phyto, eco balance, and nutrients off 0.8 weeks, and they were done. Cool. What?
It was a success story.
Pods, yeah, exactly, yeah. I've not been disappointed with the mystery boxes. Ordered another one last week. There you go.
There you go. See, I try when people trust me to pick their corals, it's like a pressure on me. So I try to make sure that they're going to be happy. And only one. I've sold hundreds of mystery boxes, and only one person ever said to me, "It wasn't." It was. He said that he thought it was worth £10 less than it was. So I just sent him £10, and then he was happy, and he bought more.
That's really cool, actually. I like that. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, next question. Reef Dork, with the energy prices going through the roof, there are rumours our public aquarium Skegness will be closing. Oh, that would be sad. Yeah, I bet, though, because there's no price cap on companies. Well, did that change in the recent... Have the government sorted?
They were talking about doing something.
I feel like a couple of weeks ago they said they were. But yeah, no doubt. And even with price of cap, they're still going up.
I think some shops as well will struggle. Definitely.
What will they do? Because you can't, if you shut down a public aquarium, you can't just turn the lights off and go, there we go. What do you do?
They'll be coming to me.
It would take months to shut down a public aquarium, but maybe they have to do that.
Yeah, that's everything. They have to find other aquariums for them to go to. That's all they can do.
Yeah. Anyway, actually, one point. Raven doesn't like chemicals because the more you put in, the more you go wrong. Keep it simple. Yeah. Totes. 100%. Serious question. How do you keep up with a predator tank that eats your whole cleanup crew? That's one of the problems with a predator tank.
It depends what they're eating as well. Like there must be something specific that the predators are eating.
If you had something like a big trigger, it's going to eat anything.
Yeah.
It's going to eat an urchin. It's going to eat snails, crabs, the works. But I've never kept a predator tank, and I don't like predator fish anyway.
Long spine urchins can usually be okay with most fish. I'm not saying all of them, but I have seen.
You haven't watched David Attenborough enough.
Well, I have seen them in fish only tanks.
Okay, there you go. And speaking of Steve King, are long spine algae urchins good for algae? Yes.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Alex, do you have a motorcycle channel too? I stumbled upon a few weeks ago and he
Yes.
sounded just like you. I do. It's called Average Biker. Average Rider? Average Biker? I changed the name recently.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's good. Worth a watch.
Do a search for Triumph Scrambler 1200 review and you'll come across it. It's called something like watch this before you get Triumph Scrambler 1200. And it's got about 80,000 views. So you'll find me that way. I can't remember what it's actually called.
It's a weird experience to listen to it because you're like, hey, wait a minute. I recognize this voice, but he's not talking about fish. And you're like, well, why is this weirdo talking about motorbikes?
The other thing, so I'm planning on doing another video on my current bike with like accessories I've added because people love that. But the thing is, so like if I do these videos, the normal Friday videos, I do a little bit where I'm talking to the camera and it's cool because you've got fish behind me. If I did that for the motorbike, they're going to be like, why the hell's this guy's got fish on his video? So I have to do voiceover only. So anyway.
Because backgrounds are really important to people.
They are. It matters. Yeah. You laugh at me, but it matters.
No, it's because of mine.
Because of your ladies. Vibrant white tank, my tank, nasty. 50.1k. Oh, it's creeping up. Just joined the stream. Wanted to get into saltwater. I've been doing freshwater for 6 or 7 years. Any suggestions?
Watch
Do it.
All of our videos.
Click on the adverts. Yeah. Click on all the Amazon links. No, just do it. So I researched for 2 years solid whilst I was saving, which wasn't a bad thing. And I read I found a magazine in South Africa that you could download the PDF of the magazine. And I downloaded about 20 issues of this magazine. I read magazines in the UK. I read articles. I read everything. I read tens of thousands of words all the time, every week, researching everything. I bought a tank. I knew fuck all. Pardon my French.
I remember that feeling as well.
It's you don't learn until, and then you get stuck in and you're like, oh my God, how do I not know anything? So just do it.
But you do still have to learn as well. So
oh, absolutely. I'm not saying just don't do any research at all.
So what you need? Consultation. That's what you need.
This is true.
You sent someone my way the other day. I had an email from someone called Brad saying he spoke to you and you told him to talk to me.
There was someone who posted a comment on one of my videos saying, can I get, he's setting up a tank and he wants some guidance, basically. He said he'd pay me to do, and I just said, I just haven't got time.
Yeah.
So, but I said, give Prestige Reef a shout. But it was a regular. I think he wanted. It wasn't just like a one-off. I think not you've got loads of time, but you do it. Like I can't phone you during the day because I'm at work.
Yeah. True.
So and I don't want to commit to it. So but yeah. But there you go. But yeah, just buy a tank. Slow and steady. Good advice. Aptasia, yeah, you were. I can't remember what the question was. But anyway, the Reef Dork discount. What would be the best change from Fluval Evo? Looking for a bigger tank.
Have you seen the 6-foot water box?
Yeah, exactly. Great minds. The biggest you can afford. I think a 3-foot for an early tank. A 3-foot is a really nice size, but you can't. With a 3-foot tank, you're still a little bit limited on fish choice. A 4-foot tank, they're wicked. The bigger, the better, more or less. It's more effort in terms of water change and stuff. But
I can't tolerate anything smaller than a 5-foot. That's genuinely true. I had a 4-foot, and I'm not even sure a 5-foot one would be big enough. Once you've had 1,000 liters to play with, going down to like a 400 liter one's hard for me. But I started with a 5-foot one, and that was the best thing probably I ever did for this hobby. Because I started with one which was there was plenty of room to grow. So yeah.
Well, so it depends on what your budget is and how much space you've got. But if you've got, assuming you've not got an unlimited budget and unlimited space, I think for a newish hobbyist, the Red Sea Reefer 300 XL, that tank gives me fuzzy feelings downstairs. I think that is because it's longer front to back. It's a full 24 inches. It's 3 feet, 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, more or less. That's a nice escape, would look awesome. Plenty of room for some fish, algae eating fish like a tang and a foxface, not long term, but certainly short term and medium term. I think that, and loads of space for corals. I think that's a nice size. And You're not going to spend a fortune. You're not going to spend £1 million on lights, just £500,000.
Yeah.
And Fish Guy kind of just noticed your pictures, Ryan.
I saw that.
Reef Dork, why does dinoflagellates love the back glass at the back of the tank, but not on clear glass? Maybe that's a light thing. I don't know. Definitely dinos on the glass, because normally they like light. Maybe they like lower lights. And Raven doesn't have. You don't get reef shows in South Africa, well, nor over here really, unfortunately. In terms of reefing shows, big up Radical Reefs. I know they're trying to pushing for big things. They tried to sort something out at Leeds FC Stadium, Ellen Road. Fingers crossed in future years. Well, that'd be wicked. Why are you smiling?
I've gone right down to the bottom, and it says average rider sounds like a shitty porn name.
That's good. I like that. Maybe I should. Maybe that's the direction I should take the channel.
When I'm laughing or when I'm not listening to you.
Yeah. Alex spending money on lighting for the studio this time. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of lights, to be fair. So I used to have that light there. It used to be one of my main lights, but it's rubbish. But it's really good for lighting my Lego tank. Anyway, how's the Regal Angel getting on with SPS? So far, so good. It's only 2 months, but he's not touched anything. Zoa's LPS, nothing yet. Best fish or invert for pest control in 60-litre tank. What's pest control? As in algae, flatworms. I personally wouldn't be bothered about flatworms and that sort of pest. I would just get an urchin for algae. Ryan, you're distracted. What comments are you looking at?
No, just all of them.
All of them?
Just all of them, yeah. No, I'm just slowly reading them, basically.
Well, I'm trying to catch up, and I'm only 22 minutes behind now, having been half an hour behind earlier. So quick fire again. 300-litre tank. I've put Fritz Turbo Start in with 2 clowns and a cleaner shrimp. It's been 8 days and still no ammonia. Any reason why you shouldn't get ammonia? Does that mean my tank has started to cycle? So when you put bacteria in a bottle in your tank, the purpose of cycling a tank is to go through the process whereby you get all the bad stuff, bacteria proliferate, and then they eat all the bad stuff, so you don't get detectable levels of the bad stuff. But that bacteria that you're trying to get by cycling a tank is sold in a bottle. So in theory, if it's done properly and if it works, putting bottled bacteria in your tank from day one should mean you never get a cycle. If it's done properly, it doesn't always happen that way, but that's why. So it's going well. Just keep feeding modest amounts of food, small amounts of food. Don't add any more fish for a couple of weeks, and you're good. But that should be your experience. Question to both. Ryan, you're gonna have to pay attention now.
I actually lost where we were, but I found it again. Yeah, I have 2.
Right, well,
you go.
2 Red Sea reef-led 160s, and they are now getting noisy. Had them over 8 months. I've cleaned them, which is what I was about to suggest. But only way to keep the fan quiet is to stop having blue on 100%. I mean, there's not a lot to say about that, to be honest. That's just so. I've just found my AI Prime HD 16. I only have it at 40%, and the fan started coming on. But fans, that's LEDs get hot. So
yeah. There's not a lot you can do, basically.
Email Red Sea. Maybe it's a fault, but it sounds like that's just what happens, to be honest, I'm afraid. Any guys with dealing with red and green cyano? The only way I've dealt with cyano before was to use ChemiClean. I did it in a tank that I didn't have many corals in. I don't think I'd do it in my current tank, but it worked a treat. Turn your flow up is the first thing to do because it doesn't like flow. Thoughts on Xceptor Auto Balance? Have you seen the Xceptor Auto Balance?
No.
It's an alkalinity monitor, and I don't have an opinion on it, to be honest. I've looked at it a little bit. Looks good value for money. I think it uses a pH probe the same as all of the others. I've never seen the software. I don't really know. Oh, do you know what? I can't really give you much insight. There was someone called, I can't remember. Go on, if you Google it, an Ultimate Reef. Someone posted a full review of it, and he talked about it in a lot of detail. I saw the Kamoa KH Carer in a shop yesterday. Aquatic Emporium. You know the one that they said you can put on by your TV and your missus.
Yeah. Did you want to put it in your living room?
I didn't, but it looks a lot smarter in the flesh.
Interesting.
It's got a little LCD screen that displays the results, and it's really like high quality. It looks nice. I still wouldn't want it. I wouldn't get it home and go to Mrs. Reef Dork. Look what I've got you, darling. But it
Yeah.
looks nice. It's a smart piece of kit. And I like the little beaker at the front, so you can see the test sample and change the calibrate the pH very easily. Anyway, I've definitely got bristle worms. Never seen them. My 6-line defo keeps the numbers down, but they're great. What's the best way to handle hair algae with no nitrates and phosphates in a nano tank with limited herbivore selection? Urchin.
Yeah, we've had the same question a few times.
I have a red knob. Starfish.
You might get
no problem. I know, yeah. Get it looked at. Ryan will look at it for you.
No,
Send
yes.
him a photo on Instagram.
Red knob starfish are carnivores, so those are one of the ones which you that are fine. It's the same as the chocolate chip starfish are fine. They're very similar ones. It's the reef safe starfish that, like Fremias, that are the problem.
Ah, right. So that worked. Didn't hear you. Heard Ryan. So that worked.
Yeah, but I never stopped people from listening to me. So
yeah. No, so that's the way to do it. So you have to mute yourself, and then there's a little radio walkie-talkie in the bottom corner, and you push the talk. So that's how.
I don't want to touch it. I'll turn it off.
To be honest, I don't think there's anything that you or I don't mind talking about.
No.
So I just anyway. It'd be cool to see a page on prestige reefs which highlights fish inverts which are compatible, beneficial or not, depending on fish coral-only tanks. From Ryan's experience, I think that's talking about which fish go together with fish and corals and stuff.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because sometimes.
I know what he means. Do you know what he means? So like a list of 1,000 fish and a list of 1,000 inverts and a tick to say yes or no.
Will or won't yeah. It's a difficult one though because they're like, well, you can get a flame angel which is fine with something, and then you get a flame angel which is not fine with something. So
exactly, it's not a yes or no answer.
No.
So and that would take ages anyway. So yeah. My lips were moving, no sound. If you want to save your hair, don't get into reefing. Very true. Do high nitrate cause fish discoloration? Not in saltwater fish, as far as I'm aware. I'd be surprised, but I've never heard that.
No, the honest answer to that question. Does it cause it in freshwater fish then?
I always used to. I don't know. I was only in the freshwater hobby for about 2 years, but it always, when fish care guides always talked about nitrate levels and don't get nitrates too high. Maybe that was more to do with health, but I don't know. Late response. As we speak, I'm printing a Tunsy pump holder. Wow, wicked. You've stolen the idea from the guy off eBay. I'm going to tell him he's going to report you to the intellectual property police. Can Vibrio produce toxins in reef tanks that kill coral? I think Vibrio kills coral. So maybe it does as well, but Vibrio is bad news for a reef tank.
What is it? I don't even know what that is.
It's a bacteria. It's nasty.
But what does it do? I assumed it was a bacteria, but what does it actually do?
Kills corals.
Is it like brown?
I've got no idea. I've never had to deal with it. I've heard about it from Eli, the guy who does the microbiome tests.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about it apart from I think he theorizes, and I might be misquoting him, so don't quote me on this. But I think he theorizes that Vibrio is one of those things that kills corals. When you're looking at your tank going, I don't know what's gone on, it's Vibrio.
It's just like the last resort, basically.
It's probably the first resort. It feels like the sort of thing that in 10 years' time we'll be laughing at old videos of, like, when I've made a video going, this is how to stop your corals from dying, and I don't mention Vibrio. So, but I don't really know. My Hannah checker turned out to be nearly 3 DK. Ouch. Anyone had anything similar? I'm super anal about how old is your reagent and how long has the bottle been open for, because that makes a difference. If the bottle's been open for a few months, it starts to drift. It's been open for a long time, it drifts a long way.
I've always been interested, actually. I've always been interested in if the actual unit itself, because you can't calibrate it. I've always been interested that, like, can you?
Well, actually, it's not that you can calibrate it, but you can buy, and I found this recently, a Hannah solution that is the right color for. They've set it. I can't remember what it is, but let's say for the sake of argument, they send you a solution that is 7 DKH color.
Yeah.
So you can test it, and if your Hannah checker says it's 8 DKH, it's wrong.
But then what do you do?
Throw it away.
Oh, so you can't like adjust it.
I don't think you can calibrate it, but you can check at least.
Yeah.
I think anyway. You might be able to calibrate it. I don't think you can, but you can at least check, and that would be. And I think it's like 20 quid. So, but anyway.
Well, might be worth doing. So, it might be worth doing.
Fair enough. Are you paying for domestic or commercial energy, Ryan?
Commercial.
Right. Ouch. What is the setup behind you with jellyfish? Oh yeah, this is what's amazing. So they're fake jellyfish. This is the biggest sack of junk in the world.
When you get the kahunas to get real jellyfish, like I had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This was like 20 quid off eBay, and it's a poster. There's a pump that pushes them around in circles, but don't work. But what I put some hydrogen peroxide in there because I didn't want it to grow algae, and that has worked. But it's another one of those things that I thought would be cool if it was in the background of the videos with these jellyfish going. Ooh. But yeah, it's a bit crap if I'm honest. One of my LFS shut down half of their fish tanks because of the risk of rising costs. Yeah, not surprised. What a great shoaling fish to keep in a 260 litre tank. I mean, none in a tank that small.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Shoaling fish are a bad idea in this hobby as a general rule.
The only fish that truly will show in a tank that small are the ghost cardinal fish. They're not colourful, but they will stick together really.
Like neon tetras, don't they? But the trouble with them is that they're temperamental and they don't live long. From what I understand.
In Jamie's tank, which obviously is I think you probably know by now, it's massive. He got 30 regal damsels the other day, and he's got 30 chromis in there, and they look amazing. They literally look amazing. Because even though the chromis are all like spread out, when I saw the regal damsels, they were all really close together, like in a little ball, and it was quite impressive to see that.
Maybe that's the best answer is a Springer's damsel because they're not hella aggressive for a damsel fish. But yes. I have a couple of Springer's damsels, and whilst they're not as aggressive as other damsels, they're still nasty.
Just to clarify,
my fingers when I put them in.
Jamie's tank is massive. You have to get in it with a wetsuit. So simple reef life. I'm not telling you to get 30 regal damsels.
Yeah. I wouldn't put a shoaling fish in a 260. I tried chromis in a 250 litre tank, and
they just kill each other.
Very quickly didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh right, you're just clarifying what LCA, large cell amphidinium. Dinos that won't. Oh, okay, cool. Average rise.
I know, I thought it was funny.
What's your thoughts on Reef Elements?
I like them.
Do you like them? Why do you like them?
I like the fact that they do an ICP test and then they tell you what you need to put in and then they sell you all their products.
Yeah.
So you know you're putting the right amount of stuff in, if you see what I mean. But I only use them for like the really weird, obscure, like trace elements.
Yeah, okay. So I know the guy. I don't know him. I've met the guy who runs Reef Elements.
Yeah,
really nice guy, knowledgeable guy. His wife's a chemist, I think, some kind of scientist. So yeah, cool. I've never used it, but it's just another one of those things. The trouble is, there's a million 2-part dosing products. So I don't know, but no, cool. And it's a British company, so that's good. And it's so the ICP machine is in the UK, quick turnaround. But I don't really have an opinion. I like the guy who runs it. That's about as much as
good enough for me.
But that's a good thing, to be fair. That's a start. Because it matters. Well, anyway. Names fish or no names fish? My missus names my fish.
About half of mine are named and half of them are not.
Okay.
One of my friends who came recently named a little azure damsel. Springer-eyed damselfish. It's called Craig. So that's the newest named fish from yesterday. I love
like normal person names.
All of them. Animals. All of my fish are named normal with actual people names.
So my cat's called Fred. Just normal person names. Like, and some people have cats called Dave and that sort of stuff.
I know someone with a cat called Fish. They literally, it's called Fish. It's weird.
Yeah, okay. You should try the Aquanite LED. I don't know what that is.
No.
Lego tank, let's see it. So my missus works for Lego.
You look like a giant then because you were just picking up this tank.
Oh, I've just destroyed it.
I'm
blaming Mark for that. So this is
no, you'll have to play with Lego some more.
I know. But there you go. And now I've got a yellow tang in 2 bits.
Oh. There's a comment here saying my yellow tang eats corals. That's what will happen to my yellow tangs if they start eating corals.
Really? Yeah, yeah. I've never heard of a yellow tang eating corals before. Regal tang. Yeah.
I know. I believe it because.
I'm not saying I don't believe it. Yeah.
I have a sailfin which eats corals and a purple which eats corals. They're usually trachyphilias, is what everything goes for.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I was only dosing alk for a long time. Nothing in my tank grew. How much damage does only dose? I mean, you might as well not bother dosing anything.
I think you answer your question there if it says mostly died. How much damage does it do? A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to dose things equally, basically. Exactly. Not equally in terms of the same. I think people do that.
Some of them. So Red Sea, it's different. But Reef Elements, for example, you dose the same.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Why would someone only dose alk? If you're only dosing alk, it means you're not testing anything else.
I would assume it's because you didn't know you were supposed to dose other stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's no other. Anyway, always surprised that TMC and Maidenhead Aquatics haven't set up a major show somewhere like the NEC in Birmingham. They are massive companies. I talked to the Brian Schaff, the CEO of TMC, about this a couple of months ago with a couple of other people as well, and there were reasons, but I think they would be up for funding part of it. I suspect if someone did it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of effort, a massive amount of effort, and I think their time is better spent elsewhere. But they spend a surprising amount of money on things that are actually good for the hobby that you don't see. TMC, Crackner, yeah. But this is the trouble with these sorts of shit. And I'm not putting a downer on Crackner, but it's a shop meet, and it's not the same. There was a shop meet at my local fish shop recently. When the day I went on holiday. At Reefkeeper Windsor, and they did one at Reefkeeper Rugby as well. And I'm sure they're wicked, but it's not the same as a show.
Is that the one that Colette went to?
Yes.
Okay.
Did a video about both of them.
Yeah.
From my previous question, a Seachem tidal is a hang-on back filter. I was planning on using GFO. Yeah, if it just like water trickles through it, yeah. Ideally, you want GFO to be tumbling.
Yeah.
But it can work if you just got water passing through it. Just won't be as effective. Literally every shop in the UK deal with TMC, so it could be a great way to get a major show. Would be cool to get a Discord. I have a Discord. I've downloaded the app. I set up a Discord, but I've never used Discord before. I don't really know what it is, apart from it's kind of like a forum sort of thing. And so I'm a little bit scared to start it because I don't know how it works. Red knob.
I like the next question. The next comment. Hey guys, what have I missed?
Oh right, yeah. Okay.
There's a little thing. There's a bar that you can slide all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah. Watch 2 hours. I've got a 500 litre tank. What's the best way to deal with hair algae? 2 tanks. Urchin. Put it out. Urchin. Don't feed too much. Yellow long-nosed butterfly fish. Yay or nay?
Yay. I don't know why I said yay then, because I've never had one.
I've had a couple. They both died. I found them difficult to keep.
That was like instinctual. I just went, yeah, get one.
They're cool, and they're supposedly one of the more reef-safe butterfly fish.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Give it a bash.
They're meant to be safer than copper bands.
They're not as finicky as copper bands, and they're definitely easier. But they're still. I don't think they're. I think they're a fish you've got to still make allowances for and chuck in a ton of food. You should do a live stream where you review pictures, video clips of our tanks. I've thought about doing that. I love that idea, actually. Tanks by Joe.
They prepared for us to comment because if it's like with us with the products, we don't hold back. Do we?
Bad, right? But I'm up for that. The trouble is, I tell you what, if someone wants to do that, if someone's watching this video and wants to do that, upload a video to YouTube of your tank privately, so not everybody can see it, but you can share the link.
Yeah.
Send it to me on Instagram at Reef Dork, and I will. If we get a load of them, I'll do it next week because I'm up for that.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it's the sort of thing that might end up taking. I don't want it to take hours of prep work. But if it's just you sending it and just you send it with a comment of what you want me to say, if you want me to just critically analyze it, or if you want advice, do it. I'm up for that. I think that'd be quite cool.
I think the only way you could really do it, because you have to be specific about what you want to see in the video. It almost needs to be just the tank like this, not because if someone's doing this and moving it around and showing all different bits of it, each video will take too long to show probably.
But we're up for that, and because I can just play 10-second clip of it, whatever. Yeah, anyway, I had a Melanurus wrasse. Yeah, I don't like them, and they do get big.
Why?
It's too big. You like them, don't you? Well, number one, and this is gonna wind him right. I'm gonna watch his face while I say this. They're ugly and boring.
Firstly, what is wrong with it?
They're ugly and boring.
And they're aggressive. Are the best wrasse you can get for pests.
Yeah, if you don't mind looking at an ugly wrasse.
It's not. They're green and stripy. An ugly wrasse is like a bird mouth wrasse, or like the females especially, or there's loads of ugly wrasse that are worse than the Melanurus.
He's gone all high pitched, guys. He's annoyed.
I'm just shocked at your idiocy.
I've said that before, and you got really upset. Well, not upset, but you know what I mean. Same as this. You were shocked. Anyway, thought I was flat firm free. Now back with it. Stick line wrasse, too aggressive. Yellow wrasse, silver belly wrasse are supposedly very good.
So what you should do?
45 centimeters. No, they're massive though. 45 centimeter cube. I don't think I'd have any.
One. Because it said it was too big after a year, which means suggests he doesn't have it anymore. So
get a yellow wrasse. Don't listen to Ryan. I'm going to mute him. Get a yellow wrasse. I use Hannah. Mick D'Souza says I use Hannah checkers, and my understanding is that when you put the sample without the reagent, you're recalibrating it. I would email Hannah and ask that. I don't know that to be true or false. What is the best Hannah nitrate test? High range, 100%. Don't bother with the low range. There's YouTube videos on it. There's a million steps. Takes 75 hours to do one test, by which point your nitrate has changed. The high range is really good. I have 2 torch, 2 foxborn, a wallhammer in my tank. All day they will be open and seem very happy, but every night when the light goes, they pull in. Always worries me. It's natural. Next question. That's what they're supposed to do. Carrying on from a conversation with a customer today. Would you consider clownfish to be a shoaling fish? No. And how do you go about introducing a group into your tank? Ask BRS. They've done it, but they're not a shoaling fish. If you see them in the wild, 2 by 2. Like
the only way you'll get a success you'll have to introduce a whole batch of the same fish basically for it to be a success. You won't be able to buy 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 from different shops.
Even then, watch the BRS video on how to do it. I'm not saying it can't be done. It can.
I've done it for someone.
Well, there you go. But it's difficult, and it's not just a case of buy 15.
Yeah.
Jamie, send me a video of your tank. I want to see it now. BN3 Reefing says it's incroyable. Scotland's best, in my opinion, LFS is closing. Nessie's layer. Oh, no way. Gutting. Yeah.
Not heard of it before, to be honest. So
I've heard of it. Never been there, obviously. But in terms of pest control and 60 litre, I'm setting up a frag tank. So really thinking algae and flatworms.
You need a wrasse and a small tang. A small tang. Is what
I still, an urchin would be better, because if you get a tummy tang, they're not as good for algae as an urchin.
Yeah.
But maybe 60 litre, it's not a lot, is it?
No,
I wouldn't put a tang in a 60 litre.
Actually, yeah, it's hard to imagine what 60 litres is, but yeah, that's probably it's too small.
Yeah, you can get multi-reference fluid from Fauna Marin for a lot less to check all your test kits. Don't know if that would work with Hannah, but maybe it will. One for Prestige Reef. I've got a Cyphastria from you, which has been doing great recently. It's not been great. Ryan, you ripped someone off.
It's been doing great.
Yeah, now he says not. Last I checked, parameters were good. 1 week ago, thoughts on what might be annoying it.
So,
they like low light, don't they? Cyphastria?
They do. There's something that is really strange about the Cyphastrias, where they can grow out of control, and then it gets something when all of a sudden you'll just get like 5 of the same type, and all 5 of those will die of that one specific type, and then the rest of them are fine and keep growing. And I'm not sure if it's because of light or phosphate. When I put carbon in the other day, I lost a couple of pieces, and that could be the carbon is stripping all the green out of the tank, which makes the light clearer, and then it makes the lights stronger. And I wonder if that's what it is that's doing it. But it happens every so often, and I've only noticed recently it happened when I put the carbon in.
More or less every coral that I ever have that is not doing well starts to lose colour. Yeah. I put in a lower light spot. like as almost shaded if you can. In fact, even sometimes shaded, and that almost always helps, if not fixed it. I'm moving house. Oh man, Jody, I feel for you. It's going to be a nightmare. And need to keep my fish and corals alive in a smaller tank while I set up a main one. How small tank could a foxface, 3 clowns, and cardinal survive for a few days? Well, tiny for a few days. I mean, you see them in fish shops as long as it's got established colonized rock or whatever in it, fine. Yeah, a foot. It's not ideal, but
yeah, it's a difficult thing because we don't. Is that a foxface a foot long, or is that a foxface this big?
But even then, 2 foot, I would be okay with anything for a few days. It's not ideal, and it'll stress them out. And I can't guarantee it'll be okay. But the bigger, the better, obviously. But okay, 2 foot, I would be fine with. A foot, maybe you might be okay. Oh, hang on. Sam Parker has the best fish names. Yeah, I saw a video where he talked about that recently. I can't remember what it was. Leslie's kids always name him. Oh yes, I've named after me. I'm going to take that, even though it's not. I'm going to take that as named after me. So there's a fish called Alex. How do you make your aquarium crystal clear and free of floating particles? 2 things. I have a clarity and I use carbon. Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. But it doesn't make a difference. I still see particles floating. So the one thing I will say, if it's a Gen 2, the clarity, the Gen 2 clarity clogs really easily. The Gen 3, they fixed it. But the Gen 2 clogs really easy. But what I had an X filter on my main tank, similar kind of thing, and I swapped that for the reef mat. The water was crystal clear, and I'd had that X filter for years. It was so I don't know if that's actually a thing, but that it made a huge difference to the point that I went downstairs the next day when I looked at the tank. I was like, "Did I change my carbon yesterday?" It was amazing, and that's part of the reason I've installed a reef mat on my second tank, which I bought with my own money, even because it's so good.
Ozone can increase the clarity of the water, and the other thing is a UV sterilizer does it as well if it's bacterial. If it's bacteria floating in the water, which I don't know if that's what that is. That doesn't sound like that, but if you have a bacterial bloom, put a UV sterilizer on, it gets rid of it in like 2 days.
True enough. Tim's cat is called Frank. And Raven bought a conch, and then they've got googly eyes. Conches are just so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, forget the Discord. Better off getting banned. A lot of people aren't fans of banned. I did have banned, but I posted do you know what banned is?
Yeah, it's an app that it became popular after they stopped selling corals on Facebook. But I don't really
exactly. So I've sold coral. You can buy and sell corals on banned, and I did that a couple of times, and sometimes it worked all right. But the one thing that sticks out for me that I remember, and this was the last time I posted anything for sale there, a couple of years ago, I posted a Monty stellata.
Yeah.
And I know it was a Monty stellata. I know what a Monty stellata is. I've had it in my tank for years. I know what it is. And I said it was a Monty stellata, 10 quid or whatever. And someone said, that's a Monty hirsuta. And I was like, I said, it's not a Monty hirsuta. It's definitely a stellata. And he posted back again and said, I'm telling you, it's a hirsuta. You're wrong. And I was like, I know what a hirsuta is. I know what a stellata is. I said, but instead of posting that, I posted back saying, I will give you £1 million if you buy this. And it turned out to be a hirsuta. And I was just like, oh, look, it's not. You haven't seen the coral. I've seen the coral. I'm not an idiot, and it's not. Hirsuta and stellata do look similar, but they also look. It's clear to tell the difference, and it wound me up. That was the last time I used it.
I just think I can just imagine, because obviously I know you, so I can just imagine your response to that.
I was calm, but behind the scenes, I was like, just anyway. If you want some help with the Discord, thank you for the offer, but really it's the sort of thing, if I was going to use it, I'd need to use it in my private life, because like I don't have Snapchat, I don't have TikTok. People keep telling me to set up TikTok, or some people have told me to set up TikTok, but I don't, because I don't use it. I use and love YouTube. That's why, part of the reason I'm good at it. Facebook I don't have Twitter, so that's why I don't do them. So it would need to be something I'd get into myself. You are ordering a Reefbox water frag, a Reefbox 35.2. Nice little tank. I'm back asking for more fluval updates. Have a look at the Reef Dork extra channel. But I've got, I'm actually, do you know what? I bought a stand, and this jellyfish tank here is going to be replaced by the Fluval Evo next week. I ran out of time to do it today, but it will be there, so you will always be able to see it every week and in all my videos. And I've done that because I'm neglecting it a bit, and if it's on display to the world every week, I'll have to invest time in it. How do I increase my salinity? I'm at 1.1019. Gently.
Slowly add salt, and hopefully you haven't got anything in there.
Don't add salt to the tank though.
Sure, actually, yes.
So supposedly you do.
I do but that's because remember I've got a massive 600-litre sump. So,
okay.
But
yeah. what you should do is, I think supposedly you're supposed to do it 1 point per day, so 1.019 to 1.020 per day.
Yeah.
And you should probably the easiest way to do it is just to pour in salt water, mixed salt water, because then as the water evaporates, you're effectively adding in salt water instead of fresh water, so therefore it will increase your salinity. But just monitor it, because you don't want to jump up. The worst thing to do is jump up a lot. Yeah. Although if you've got corals in 1.019, they might not be too happy, but do it slowly. Can
we put in our 5-minute warning?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I tell we'll scan on in that case. Let's.
Anyway, it's because I'm actually really tired for some reasons. That's why I can feel myself lagging.
Fair enough. In which case,
me.
We'll do we'll wrap things up in that case, because just because we've gone past 2 hours.
I just wasn't sure if you noticed.
I was roughly aware of it, but I'm not. I'm on jury service next week.
So you're on jury service, are you?
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
really
it's more interesting.
I know, but so I'm not at work. So I'm not, like, normally I want to finish because of work, but jury service I don't have to get up too early. So
someone has just commented. There's one comment that you should read where it says, "I was on band and I saw your post, Alex. It was a suitor."
Where's that? I can't find it.
NB Reefing.
NB Reefing. Oh, I can't. Oh, that's funny, but it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fish of Hex did a roast my tank. Yeah. I'd say I haven't watched many Fish of Hex videos, but I think he did a video where he said that he was basically apologizing for being a douche, and I think he used it as like an act. But I'm not up for being nasty to people unless it's Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm
used to it.
Anyway, so we'll call it a night there in that case. I don't know what I've posted that for. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. Ryan, thank you for joining. We'll send you a can of Red Bull for next week.
Nice. I look forward to it.
And yeah, we'll catch you all again soon. Bye, guys. Cheers.
See you later.